Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming in and checking out the live chat for the podcast, or the live, I don't know what the hell we call this. I'll have to edit all this out again already. The live stream for the podcast. Give you a little bit of a recap. It's been about 2 months since we've played. Not that you guys would know as long as the cycle is, but so we went to Footfall and sort of crashed into the station, which caused a little bit of a kerfuffle. So we were stuck on Footfall for a little while the ship was repaired. We made a couple of purchases. Venari, as a man of his word, agreed to go and follow up on the mission that Jarnan was interested in before we went on the last thing to secure the planet for the mining operation. So we talked to the Adeptus Administratum, and they wanted us to reclaim a planet that had been rediscovered after the warp storm had gone away. It was an agro-world. It was the bread basket for the Imperium, one of the planets they use for there. And the only other notes that I have is that Emmaus found out that the planet was actually worth more than what they were letting on to. So not too much in the way of a recap. Take it away, Neil.
All right. Well, it's a good thing I pre-generated some things. See, you guys, I did a little extra work on this one, so I do have names and stuff, except for like randos, but that's a good thing. And I know what this mission is, so we're good. It's a thing. Yeah, so you're on the station still, as far as I know. You did not go anywhere yet, right?
Yeah, I meant to listen to the end of the episode, and then I just never got the chance, so I assume so.
If not, you can retcon to being on the ship, I guess, but I didn't think you jumped anywhere.
I don't think so. I think we were preparing to leave.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything last minute that you guys thought of before you're, like, heading out before we run the jump mechanic.
I feel like Jarnan and Venari had a thing, like after all that washed out, like he was in my quarters or something. I feel like we had a little tete-a-tete before we were leaving, although I can't remember.
About what? What was it? What was it about?
The typical stuff. He came in, acting like Jarnan.
Heretical shit? I don't know.
Yeah. Does that sound familiar, John, or no? Am I making it up?
Not really, but I'm kind of looking over my notes right now to see.
It sounds a little familiar, but I'm not positive. It sounds somewhat familiar.
It's happened before. Yeah.
I think it was more of a like, hey, what the fuck's up with all this, like, heresy? FYI, there's a lot of it.
Not really. There hasn't been anything heretical so far. Really?
Wait, don't you guys have heretical shit with you? No?
No. I mean, I have a beautiful Xeno skin cloak.
Yeah, I do. That's some Eldari tech over here. Right there. I got.
Yeah, that's the Xeno skin something or another, right?
Yeah. I'm wearing a Eldar hollow suit. That's yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's heretical as fuck.
Just call me Harley.
That's like super heretical.
Oh fuck yeah!
But
it's under my cloak. But I'm gonna use it all the time.
But nobody's really looking at you because you're all like disfigured and you've got like mutations and shit.
Oh, they'll be looking at me when I break into particles of light.
Wait, it actually does that and doesn't just like predator armor you?
It does that when I'm standing still, but when I move, it like refracts and breaks my image up.
What?
So it'll break. Yeah, so like it starts at the edges if I'm just like moving really slowly, but then if I move quick, like the image will break up even more.
So it's just like shards of a person walking. that's fucking cool, but
Yeah.
really disorienting, I'm guessing.
And you approve this as a purchase?
I don't remember this, but apparently I did. I was probably drunk, so.
That's why I waited towards the end of the session.
Yeah, if you wait till the end, I'm like, whatever, and then I'm really
I think I rolled like
a shit.
Yeah, I think I rolled like a 15 or something on the acquisition. So
is that in? That's not in the Rogue Trader book, right? It's in one of the other books, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it was in the Rogue Trader. I can't remember.
Is it just?
I just have.
Oh, is it just the chameleon cloak?
No, that was what my backup was going to be, just in case. If you turned down the hollow suit, but you were like, you can go ahead and try, and then I blew the acquisition away.
Well, there you go. Figured I'd give you a shot, and you fucking rolled something crazy. So I guess you got it. How it works. It's not in there that I could search at least, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know where that's from. I don't know what book that's from, but apparently I'm screwed now because I gave you something that like you'll never be able to get hit now.
I'm pretty sure you gave it to him just to see the interaction between him and Jarnan when he actually uses it.
That's the other thing. I like to give people shit that you're really not supposed to have. So that's supposed to be pride and profit.
Is not Xeno.
It's plus 30 to concealment if you're stationary. So that's not that different than a chameleon cloak. Yep, and attempts to target them with ranged weapons suffer a negative 20 penalty. So that's the only difference is you can move in this.
Yeah, exactly.
And the chameleon cloak, you have to be standing still to get that bonus.
Yeah.
Or the negative. So yeah, you're pretty much but it is an Eldar technology. So
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Often worn by the Harlequins.
Yeah. Which is fitting because there may or may not be a Harlequin showing up at some point, depending on what missions you guys take.
What?
They probably would not be happy that I'm wearing some of their armor.
That depends. I know who isn't happy. Almost everyone else that you meet. They can't say much, so.
Nope.
All right, so you got that writ.
Yep. I don't. Venari doesn't have anything else that needs to be done. I guess I think we were preparing to leave, but I don't know if you guys. I don't think we have acquisitions to make or anything.
Yeah, I think we did that all leading up to that, and then we had the couple breakaway sessions where each of us talked to each other and we were just getting ready to go, and I think we called it right before we did any of the rolling.
Yeah, I think so. All right. If that's it, you guys will undock, and we'll start doing Navigator rolls.
All right. Are you? So, Amos, are you piloting us out?
Oh, the space station?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's all to me then, right? Because we're not, and then it would be over to Kynnoch for any of the.
So you sit down in the chair, and Venari kind of comes up, between you and Kynnoch, because I assume you guys are sort of like close together in the thing. And he's like, "Take us out easy, and give us a wide berth before we pull out of here."
Are you tapping me on the shoulder when you do that?
He just looks down. No, because I trust you to pilot.
Okay.
It'll go to Kynnoch.
If I fail, then it'll go to him. Oh, I got you. Okay.
You're a dick.
That is a 20.
He nods approvingly.
Okay. Then no serious issues getting out of dock. You hear chatter of like clapping and some like congratulations.
Venari just shakes his head. He looks like out the fucking the glass or whatever, and I just imagine there's like a line of guys just watching us pull out, waiting for it to crash again.
But it doesn't. Everything's good. You make it, and without any. It should be totally routine, and just happens to be so. Just docking
So he looks down at Kynnoch and he's like, perhaps you can make the jump through the warp without running into anything this time. 10%.
I'll let him choose which one he wants to take that on, because there's like multiple rolls, so you can choose one of them to do the 10. But
there are 3 rolls, right?
The first one is locating the Astronomicon, so that's a plus 10 awareness test.
Yeah,
and then the degrees of success on that is what gives you how much bonus you get on your on the navigation test.
Okay. You know what? I will use the bonus on the awareness just to increase my probability of the navigation test.
Okay.
So, all right, let's do this bitch up. so yeah, he kind of, with the captain, with the commander over his shoulder, and saying that, kind of without moving, still, hood off, all 3 eyes closed, just concentrating and relaxing. He says, I could perhaps concentrate a little bit harder and deeper without your hand on my shoulder and your breath on the back of my head.
So he stays and he stays like that for another minute or so. And then he takes a step back, he plops down in his chair and he says, as you wish.
All right. So he concentrates and the 3rd eye begins to flicker. And that is a screw. Oh, it is so fucking good that I used. Holy shit. So that, what was it, a plus 10, right?
Yeah.
Plus 10
so that
for me.
Yep. So that brought me up to 68, and I rolled a 62.
Nice. So just straight up success. I got it. I got I got the Astronomicon. You see it.
Yep.
The Emperor's
All
light is
I see the
shining.
light. Yes. The Emperor's light.
Not super bright, but bright enough. Then you have to do a plus 10 perception test to detect any potential hazards along the way.
Okay.
And that gives you, there's no bonus other than it's an ordinary, so it's a plus 10 just off the bat.
All right. And that is a son of a bitch. That's a 100 out of 68.
Wow.
You know what? I have hold on.
Fate point.
I have fate points.
Yeah, you probably won on that one.
Venari leans forward in his chair a little bit uncomfortably.
You have got to be kidding me. I rolled a 99.
Are you serious? All right. Holy shit.
99 out of 68.
Wow. Technically, I think that might still be a crit fail, because I think isn't it 96 to 100? 95 to 100. It's one of the two. That's real bad. So, like, for a second, the warp, you're looking through the warp, and for a second, you literally, like, this huge shadow just passes through your vision, as if a warp entity that is of some size and scale unknown to you previously literally eclipses your entire vision. And for a second, you think it's just like a warp storm clouding your vision. So you try to shake it off, but it's still there. This giant, just your entire horizon is nothing but darkness. So you know where you can still see the Emperor's beacon but you cannot see any warp phenomena that you may or may not want to hit. So
it's almost the warp itself has been clouded over for me.
Yes. And then you're going to do the navigation skill, and that's going to be at plus nothing, in order to determine how fast you actually will make it.
All right. That is going to be... All right, so I'm rolling against a 63 for that. And I roll an 84! Oh my god!
We're going slow the wrong way.
So, the question here will be...
Christ.
Do you want to fate point that?
Yes, I do.
Or are you going to take... I don't know how many fate points you have. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just asking.
I have 2, and I've burned both of them on this one thing.
Okay.
I've only been playing for like 10 minutes.
Right? 47. 47 out of 63.
Okay. All right. So that's 47 out of 63 is 2 degrees. So that's going to be... Okay.
Isn't that only 1
That's
degree?
good. What?
I think it's by the...
Isn't that
the
1
10.
degree?
47, 57. Oh, yeah, that's right. 63. Yeah, it's 1.
Yep, sorry. Okay, so you get there, you do go faster, which means you have less likelihood of warp phenomena. However, you did not have any way to navigate against anything. What'd you go? You got a 99 out of, and it was 63, 73, 83, 93. So you're going to roll 2 warp travel encounters at a minus 30.
Oh my god.
Yeah, with some more heretical shit. Go for
You're
it.
welcome, right?
So you're traveling.
Get
I can almost sit, like, it almost feels like I'm being punished. Like, that's not how Kynnoch thinks of it.
Oh, you are.
But Jesse feels like he's being punished.
Hey, I'm not. I did.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not
cool
by you.
man. Oh. But yeah, you do. So yeah, you're gonna roll against the warp travel encounter. So normally you anticipated that it was going to take you about 2 months in the warp. It actually is taking less than that. You are moving much faster than you imagined. You found some good currents in the warp with a lot. However, yeah, you do not. You're going fast, but you aren't able to see ahead of you what dangers may lie. So, warp travel encounter 1. Although if you roll another 100, you are fucking golden.
Tension.
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, what's happening?
You still with us, buddy?
I can roll them if he wants me to, if he's out. But...
Oh, I didn't realize I was rolling them. Oh, I apologize.
No, this is your own fate, man.
Oh,
you're
I'm
not
sorry.
gonna blame me for these shit rolls.
You're building a tension.
These are your rolls, buddy.
We're rolling hundreds.
I can tell you. I'll tell you what it is, but it's percentile minus 30.
All right. First one is 67.
Minus the 30. Right.
No, that's just straight up. So that would be
okay. So 37. Shoals and reefs. The vessel runs afoul of a warp shoal that threatens to break it open on a jagged fragment of false reality. A good helmsman and skilled navigator are required to pass unscathed.
Well, we might have one of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have one.
I'm going to rule that. Okay. I'm gonna say this is how we're gonna do it. Kynnoch, give me an awareness test to see if you detect it before it's too late to make course changes.
All right. Now, I have one real quick question.
Sure.
So one of the Navigator ability, the powers that I just took,
Mm-hmm.
if it would play in on this, but it says the Navigator can make a perception test to detect objects in space up to a distance equal to the Navigator's perception bonus. If the power is not being used during this during space combat, the distance equals 1,000 kilometers times the Navigator's perception bonus. Information gained about such objects is only what the Navigator could discover through normal observation. Oh, so this is warp observation. Not normal, right?
Yeah. This is entirely your awareness, unless you have some like psych or senescence that adds to your awareness.
Nope. All right, that's fine. All right, so awareness check.
Yep.
All right, that is going to be a 19 out of 58.
All right. You see this shoal ahead in the warp clearly well before it comes up, with plenty of time for Enos to make Ennis to make a change in course with the ship's helm. So he's going to get that 3 degrees? What I think 19 under 58. 29, 39, 49. Yeah. So you get a plus 30 to your
Pilot.
whatever the pilot. Is it pilot in this? Jesus.
Yeah. Pilot spacecraft. Okay. Plus 30.
Our Heresy has a different one. It's like operate.
Yeah. So I'll basically like yell out like Void Master, 200 kilometers up.
Okay. And I will grab the controls, and it was a 42 out of the bonus out of 75. So that would be 3.
Okay. You clearly are able to navigate around this particular warp signature well before it causes any hull damage. That would have been what would have happened, is essentially hitting something, like hitting a space station. So this one you did pretty well.
Okay, so I'll look over to Kynnoch and say, is this the only one we have to look out for, or is there more coming up?
I will let you know.
I'll be here.
And let's roll that second encounter. Also to minus 30.
Boom, 17 out of 58. And actually, you said minus 30?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's going to be 17 out of 28. Was that first one?
This isn't against anything. This is on a table. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Sorry. So it's 17.
And then minus 30 is going to take it to 1. No, it doesn't. So bad things. FYI, on the tables, in this particular table, you really want 76 to 100. Because that's like nothing happens.
I've been told the whole time, roll low.
Yeah, I'm just saying, this is the one case where it really fucks you.
Flip it on me. Screw you, white.
This one is nicer than the rest of the charts. Like, it. Trust me, most other charts, when you roll that low, it's real bad. But this one's like, it's bad. It's not that bad. In this case, it's reality erosion. The very fabric of the vessel is altered in some way. Walls might melt, statues and pictures may come to life, or gravity itself may become twisted. So I'm going to say, what would be an appropriate?
All the walls, every wall in the ship is now chartreuse.
That would be upsetting. Or I was thinking like, yeah, you could have like, it's all neon pink. Everyone wants to stab their eyes out.
Not very grimdark.
Let's say
Venari's cloak comes to life and starts attacking him.
what I will say. Okay, I'm gonna say
His servo skull grows the rest of the body.
I'm gonna say for the duration of the of travel, your equipment talks to you, like has a personality. It's just a hallucination. They are not actually possessed. They are not living weapons or whatever. But the stations you're at, all of your armor, all of your equipment starts talking to you. And I want everyone to give me a willpower test to see what that does to you. Because it's very disconcerting to you, obviously.
Oh, I fucking passed. 16 out of 30.
Wow. All right. The captain's used to this shit. He's like, this shit happens all the time in the war. This is just a fucking hallucination.
He looks at the servo skull, right? servo skull's like, boop, 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 boop. You know, it's like beeping and shit. Like, sir, you know this isn't real, correct? He like pats it on the head.
Meanwhile, your gun is like, "Get me out! I want to get out there! Get me out there! Yeah, I gotta shoot some things." And then
his hand drops to it. He looks at the back of Kynnoch's head. Looks back at the servo skull. Servo skull, like it can't shake its head, so it just kind of like it does one of these.
So you're totally fine though. Totally fine. You doesn't seem you're like I'm fine. Nothing out of the ordinary for the warp.
So I rolled a 41 out of 38.
Okay. I'm just gonna say you take a fatigue on that one.
Okay. And all the equipment whenever I'm piloting, it's like Siri, it's telling me, or it's like GPS, it's telling me to turn right and turn left. It's talking back to me.
And then it's like, why don't you touch the other controls? Why don't you touch me like you touch the other controls?
And I start blushing, and
I think you're in love with the Astronomicon. That's not an actual piece of equipment, but you get it.
Does this have anything to do with insanity or fear? Is this
it's an insanity? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I have one of my abilities. I am
jaded.
Outrageous events don't cause insanity or fear.
Okay. Jaded, right? Is that what you have?
I can't remember.
Talent. Jaded is mundane, non-demonic things won't scare you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You would not with Jaded. You wouldn't need to roll.
All right.
You're just like used to it.
So Neil, we're going with -10 for the fatigue, right?
The fatigue is fatigue not in this game? God damn it! I'm like,
it says -10, so I just want to make sure that was just a.
There's levels of fatigue, so you should have fatigue equal to your willpower plus your strength bonus. Will bonus plus strength bonus, right?
I don't know.
Am I crazy?
It almost never comes up.
What, fatigue?
Yeah.
It's -10 to all tests.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the book it says -10.
Yeah, they've changed it. God damn. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna say just until you like when you have a chance to rest. So theoretically, that would be like once you land or whatever.
So the fatigue will be all of the instrument panels thinks I'm cheating on them, so I'll just have to fight through that.
Yeah, it's really stressing you out because like you're really used to like being in the zone, and they keep talking to you, and like they're telling you different things, like go left, no, go right, and you're like, it's like you're gonna kill us, you idiot, and they're just like berating you, and you're like, but you're my ship, god damn it, do what I say, and they're like, but you're gonna kill us all, and it's really stressful.
So I'm gonna sit there with my hand on my head, concentrating, trying to block everything out.
What do we got for our missionary?
All right, I got a 28 out of 50. So I'm
You're used to the lies of chaos, so
yeah,
You're like, chaos does this. It's fine.
And I'm used to my flamethrower talking to me, so.
You're like, shit, my stuff talks to me all the time. This is normal, right?
Yeah, I actually
It doesn't happen to you guys?
I already wrote in my notes, Jarnan doesn't give a fuck. He's used to this. So.
Nice.
He's always got a one up me, too. I got 1 degree. He got 2 degrees.
I was actually checking. I have +10 to resist psychic techniques, and I was like, I don't think that's really a psychic technique.
No. Good to know,
could
though,
have been even
on
better.
the psychic resistance. All right, so that's your warp phenomena. And, hell, there's one more test. Oh, Christ, this navigator stuff. This is what happens. You know how, like, when you don't have a navigator in the party and I just get to go, yeah, you made it.
Yeah.
Instead, I get to punish somebody for all of their rolls. Great. All right, here we go. Last one, I believe, is a... is it a navigator or perception? That's the one where you actually have to get out of space. That was the problem last time. A -20 perception test to determine when you come out of the warp.
Can I give him my 10%?
No.
Okay. It's all part of the same.
I'm saying that's all part of the same thing.
Yep.
Otherwise, you'd give him 10 for literally every step.
Yeah, right? That makes sense. So he just squints at his... Yeah. He squints at Kynnoch's back.
All right. Last roll is a 41.
Okay. What's your perception? I'm guessing that passes.
What? Oh, I thought we had a I thought we had 3 events.
Two events.
Oh, 2 events. Okay. In that case, that's a 41 out of 58. But we have a -20, so that's a 41 out of 38. 0 fail.
All right. You know what? We're gonna go with it again. It wasn't a horrible failure. This isn't a particularly challenging test, but you drop out of the warp, and in this case, you're not around the planet that you are. That is your target. You are in close to one of the other planets that you could see. So you're not going to hit that planet. The problem is there are moons around that planet that were imperceptible to you when you were trying to come out of the warp. Mm-hmm. And so you are now on course with a particularly large moon, and Ennis has to now not hit that. So you're now at another, oh my God, we're going to hit this thing, helmsman test.
Okay.
No minuses other than your fatigue.
Yeah.
Can I give him the 10%?
You can.
Okay, so he just starts screaming, bang to the left, bang to the left.
And all the controls are telling me to bang to the right, bang to the right. Don't listen to that guy. Listen to us. Who do you trust? That is a 48 out of... So that would be plus minus plus 48 out of 55 after all the pluses and minuses.
Not particularly like phenomenal maneuvering, but definitely enough to clear the moon. So the ship slowly starts turning. You're getting everything moving. You get enough momentum and clear it, with definitely enough distance to not worry.
Okay.
Do you go left or do you go right?
So I go left. I didn't listen to the panels because they've been pissing me off the whole way. So I went left. So I'll look back and say, I think we're clear now, sir.
Good job. And he glares over at Kynnoch's back.
And Kynnoch just finally lets out the breath. It's like, and he's like hunched over, deep inhaling, kind of beads of sweat on his forehead.
Venari wants to say something, and he's struggling with the right word to say, so he just shakes his head and is like, oh, it's not worth it. Fucking psycher.
I assume maybe you'd just be like, God damn it!
Yeah.
Really bad. It's not great. This Navigator might, he's really not concentrating enough.
Yeah, which ship did you say you came from, Kynnoch? Or did they let you go for any particular reason?
It was overrun by tainted
demons
within
that I relieved by fucking my perception.
While settled
Whoops.
on a planet. It was
not in the warp.
It was an unfortunate.
Was it just after the ship came out of warp settled? Like,
sir, if you do not mind, I will retire to the chambers until we are ready to depart the ship.
Yeah, sure. Go freshen yourself up. You need to get your head in the game. This is got to figure out what's going on down here. I'm sure we're gonna have a little bit of trouble.
And he just doesn't even acknowledge that. Just gets up and walks out, kind of mid-sentence.
Servo Skull's like, should I requisition him some underpants?
He waves the skull off.
I'm gonna make that Servo Skull a real dick.
Well, Venari programmed the personality.
All right, you are. Wait, what was it? I wasn't.
So I mean, Venari would immediately.
Yeah, Jesse, you could definitely use that. I did not. You had that power. So, but yeah, you're in system. Yep. The planet is there. Sorry, he put a thing in the chat. So, that maybe would be useful next time.
Yeah, no kidding.
So so he says to Emmaus, he's like, move us in above the planet. Begin scans now. See if they have any defenses. If there's any ships in system. Let's get as much information as we can before we, head dirt side.
Okay, so we want to do the scans. We don't want to go actually fly down, right?
Well, so we want to move closer, right? Because we're not at the right planet at the moment.
Okay.
If I understood correctly.
Okay.
I mean, do we need to pilot in system, Neil?
No. That's routine stuff, so no.
Yeah,
there's no like danger.
So if I was trying to see if do a roll for. So we're just doing the pilot closer. So
augury scans.
Yeah.
No, so you don't have to pilot in system. So we want to do an augury scan. It's going to be scrutiny.
Okay.
Plus whatever your sensors are, which is some insane number. It's like 30 or something for you guys.
I have to find it.
I have it here somewhere.
You said that was perception, John?
It's scrutiny.
Scrutiny.
In case
none of us actually have.
Really?
I don't think any of the characters have it.
That sucks.
I have it basic. I don't have it trained. So what's that, minus 10 or minus 20? Or is that half?
Half skill. And then you
add
in
this one. In Dark Heresy, it's the new version, it's minus 20.
Okay, so take
which
scrutiny.
Sometimes is better, sometimes is worse.
That's what I'll be doing with some of my stuff. I'll be taking scrutiny, obviously.
It's really good to have.
Yeah.
Because awareness is more for like perception of like ambushes and traps and things like that. It's not like a regular perception.
Your detection is 22, so you're going to add 22 to your skill in that case.
Okay, so
22 after you take half plus 22, not 22, then take the half. So you're.
So that would be my perception is 40. So that would be 20 plus 22. Am I taking the minus 10 still? Yeah, right. So that would be 32. And that is 33. 33 out of 32.
All right. So you're scanning the planet. You're not going to get nothing. You get the major centers of civilization. It's not a hive world. There's not like these like giant, massive cities of like millions and billions of people. You are fairly sure the technology is less sophisticated than, say, your level of technology, like the standard Imperium technology. But there is power. And there seems to be there's like a major city and then some smaller, like there's one, large population center and then other cities that are smaller. Theoretically, the capital would be the largest, you'd imagine. I mean, there could be different countries, I guess. I feel like that kind of gets hand waved a lot in Warhammer. We're like, every planet's one government. And I'm like, yeah, but what about our planet? It's not. And they're like, nah, fuck it, it's one government. So, there is one massive city. Yeah,
they have exactly. Ice planet, desert planet.
Yeah. What about other biomes? Nope, one per planet. Star Wars God says only one biome per planet, guys. This is Tundra Planet.
So I'll look over to Venari and I'll say, Captain.
This one is not Tundra, by the way. It's like deciduous forest for the most part.
So I'll look over and say, we're getting power readings, but the technology level seems to be kind of lower than the average. And we're getting readings for one major population center and smaller ones scattered throughout. Was there any specific place we were supposed to go to first?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, the Adeptus Administratum wants to bring the planet back into the fold, as it were. I mean, we could just go right to the capital and discuss terms with the sitting government, or we could land by one of the smaller villages and scope things out first, get a lay of the land.
So I'll look over to Jarnan and say, Jarnan, do you have any knowledge of this planet other than what we've been told?
Unfortunately not, but I agree with heading to the main capital. Might as well speak to as big a crowd as possible. Try to get as many people under the fold as we can while we're here. Get many people to spread the good word while we're away. The next time we come here, we may not have to burn down as many trees as this time.
Trees are people.
Yeah.
All right. I say we try a light touch at first. I know I've promised you the burning of many heretics, but potentially these people are still loyal to the Emperor and his goodness.
And they do give off much light when you burn them. So I agree with this light touch you speak of.
Let's keep that as a plan B. We'll make it like A and then like underscore like a little 1. Let's at least talk to them first.
Yes. Talk is good.
For now.
He nods. He takes that as fully compromised.
Yeah. Talking's fine for 2-3 minutes. Gives me plenty of time to rev up this flamer.
I'll give him 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's generous.
He is a generous God Emperor.
So what's the status of Kane's crew? Do they sort of become my crew? Like, are they at the? Since I don't have my personal guard, as we said, the command crew sort of functions as that.
Yeah.
Are they at my disposal? Like, my thought would be to bring
You're
them
the Lord
down
Captain.
on the shuttle. So
Yeah,
Well, didn't
I mean, they answered you.
Didn't you have a
Okay.
big ceremony for Kane to try to keep
Mhm.
those guys on side, right? Isn't
Like
that
they
what-
agreed, yeah. Like you had the thing, like they agreed that like he went and went fucking batshit. So they left, half of them what stayed to like oversee the construction and security, and the other ones, yeah, they're loyal to you. And it's certainly more of an honor to be serving as the Lord Captain's personal guard than it is to just be dicking around as ship guards. So they
Sure.
would be more than willing to go with you if you're like, hey, do you guys want to go to the planet and protect me? And they're like, fuck yeah. I don't want to just jerk off up here all day.
Okay, so we left the 91 mercs along with 5 of Kane's guards, since I could
10,
trust them more to oversee
Yeah.
those guys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so he
I
would.
will assume one of them is in charge, but functionally they're not like different ranks, but you could have said like one of them be in charge, and then the other 4 are kind of like overseers for the 91.
Mhm. Yeah, because I trust those guys more than I trust the mercs.
I tell you,
Yeah.
Sanchez was second in command to Kane.
Okay.
So that's the question. Is Sanchez with you, or is he on the planet constructing the base?
know.
That's the question.
I don't know. I feel like, oh man, I don't know. Like I feel like he would be good to be there because was under Kane, but I also, since Kane is gone, like he'd be my number 2.
But then, is he the best one to help find Kane on the planet if he knows him the best? You don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'd left him there. He's got more command experience, I guess, being under Kane.
And it's probably more likely that the other guys will listen to him if he was de facto the next in command versus if it was just like one of the lower guys. Not that any of them are grunts. They're all still like pretty badass. And they're all ex-military, like true ex-imperial military. So they're not like mercs that might have been like, conscripted on some fucking backwater. These are like full-on real soldiers. So
These
they're
are
real.
professionals. Yeah.
Yeah, these are guys that these are former Navy SEALs that are now doing private contractor work for you.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other names, Jesse, or should we just kind of make these up as we go?
I sent you his top 5 in the in the Facebook. I just hit enter.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. Sanchez was his right hand. Carlos was the trainer. Sariel was the armorer. Gert is the pilot, and Frick is the comms expert.
All right, so I guess Gerhard is still with us. I have to listen online. All right, so he. I'm gonna say fuck. I don't know. Frick's comm expert. So much editing. So I guess Carlos then. So he calls up Carlos on the micro bead. I'm sure he's got his personal channel. It says, Carlos, we are in system. I need you to prep the shuttle. We're going to be taking a trip down to the capital. I want you to grab the other guys and come with us, and let's see what we can find.
Roger that, Lord Captain. Any special provisions we need to procure before landing or before leaving the ship? Standard loadout.
Standard loadout.
Roger
Make sure
that.
you got enough ammo for the door gun, and I don't imagine we're going to have too much trouble, but as always, we need to be prepared.
No, don't worry. We've got you covered. No
All
worries,
right.
Lord. No worries. We've got plenty of firepower just in the holsters, but I'll make sure everything's good to go. Shuttle will be ready and waiting.
All right. Thank you. Over and out.
Over and out.
All right. Is there anything that you guys want to do before we get out of here? This is more
In
of a.
particular, anyone wants to take I would think about it right now if there's anything that's like standard on the ship that you didn't necessarily think about that would normally be on a shuttle to take. Like you're like, oh, I need a, like for instance, unless you tell me now that you always have welding equipment in your shuttle, like that's not in there. Like plasma cutters aren't just like in the shuttle for the fuck of it. But if you say, I always have a plasma cutter on any shuttle we take, then it will be for forever and ever. There's only so much shit you can pack into a shuttle.
Ever?
I mean, I would assume
It's
that
not
there
a
would
terrible
be,
idea to have, but
medical kits,
Yeah.
there'd be extra ammo, like the standard, like going into combat kind of stuff.
Yeah, like first aid easily there, like a first aid kits and all that shit. Yeah, like ammo. I'm sure there's some rations. There's some probably minimal las gun, auto gun type, just small arms that aren't awesome, just in case you would ever happen to need them. Everyone probably has better shit than that. I would say Kane's guys would at least have bolt weapons. I would assume, even those are
They
fucking
have
amazing.
heavy bolters.
Heavy bolters, so they're even more badass.
Yeah, we did a purchase for them a while ago.
Yeah.
So they pretty much could just fucking shred things. That's fine. But if you run into some mooks that you want to give guns to, there's probably some fucking auto guns or something on there.
I think that he would. Well, no, I was going to say I would bring at least a picked recorder, but I would imagine the servo skull could probably record. Like, I don't know if that's an actual function of the servo skull, but
it is. Yes, they all could easily, for what you acquired, you could easily have a picked recorder on it. It definitely would have that.
Okay.
You can have like ones that are more limited, but I assumed that's not a big deal to have as like sure, it has that. You can get them that have like, oh, this one has some medical, like little med
the mechadendrites
things, like stuff, but it's up to you on that one. Those ones are specific. I don't remember what this one was supposed to be specifically used for the most, but a picked recorder is easy for any of them to have.
Yeah, I don't remember what he had on it either.
I'm like, did you get a gun? Like some of them do have a weapon, but it's like a las gun. But I don't know if that's why you got it.
No, I think he wanted it just to have it, just as a novelty.
Oh,
I don't think it was
that's fine. But
I think it's got a light on it.
At some point, you probably should choose like what its primary function is, because that will determine like what it has on it.
I think we did when we made the roll, and I don't see it in my notes.
Okay.
But I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up the servo skull to see what the options are. Servo skull equipment is usually one pair of simple manipulator pincers, a weapon, so a weapon is on there, a picked recorder, surgical implements, stab light, or loud hailer, but many other functions exist. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it had a light on it.
So it has a light. It has a picked recorder. It has a weapon, which the standard one listed here looks to be.
I think it's a last pistol.
Last pistol. It has an auspex, a lumen globe, and a combi tool.
Okay.
So if you want to edit it, and an inbuilt vox and cogitator. So has little pincers, has a vox, has a light, it has an auspex, has a combi tool, and it has a laser pistol.
It's my little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. And if you want to add other stuff, you can add other stuff, but you have to acquire those. But yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's currently what it has. And it does have a pick recorder, so you're good.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think he would like go out of his way to grab anything that wouldn't be.
Yeah. Standard issue.
Yeah.
Away team supplies.
I mean, that box of frag grenades, I guess, would probably throw on there.
Did you get frag grenades? Did you get
No.
I mean, if you want frag grenades, you could have frag grenades. Like, I can't justify you having to roll for those, right? Because isn't that like super like frag grenades are so fucking common. If you want to have them on the ship or like on the shuttle, you can certainly have that because that's like pretty simple stuff.
Well, hell yeah! If we can have fucking grenades, I'm down for grenades for sure.
Yeah, if you want them, you can. I think it would be very difficult to say that on a ship your size you would not have frags.
Hell
Of
yeah!
all things, that's insane to not have that. Now you might not have like crazy shit ones, but like frag grenades are common.
Yep.
That's not even average. That's common. So anything common you definitely can get. That's smoke grenades. Frag grenades. I would even say average you might have, but you don't have a missile launcher, but there are frag missiles. Those you could have, any of those you could have on any level you want. If you want to say everyone on your fucking crew carries a frag grenade, theoretically you could maybe pull that off. But maybe not the regular guys, or else I'm going to use that against you later. If you say every crew member has a grenade on them, I'm definitely making half the crew go insane, and there's going to be fucking grenades everywhere.
It'd be like World War I, where they just had grenade battles.
Yeah, just everyone's just fucking throwing them. It's just like fucking insane. So yeah, half the ship gets blown up. So yeah, definitely you don't want to give everyone that, but you have more than enough frags if you want everyone to have X number, or if you just want to say I have a supply on the shuttle and you determine later you want to take some. It's fine.
Yeah, I would say we keep that shit on the shuttle. I mean, we're the ones that are always going away, so I would assume that Venari would want to have that at his disposal if it seemed like it would be necessary.
I guess I will rule unless, well, Kane's not here anymore, but since it was not my character, if Jesse doesn't disagree, I would say his men probably all have 2 frag grenades on them at all times.
Probably
as like
sense.
as elite mercenary troops, I'd have a hard time thinking they don't have frags on them. They have heavy bolters, for Christ's sake. That's way more dangerous than a frag grenade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they totally make.
If you're dicking around with a heavy bolter that you have to fucking stabilize before you fire it, you're like, a frag grenade is a fucking small potatoes. You can full auto a bolter into people. Those are frag grenades that shoot at you and then go inside and explode. So, yeah, they definitely have 2 frags for sure. You guys, if you want them, you can have them on the ship whenever you need them.
Okay, yeah,
For sure.
I would say we always keep a case of smoke and frag on the shuttle.
Sure, that makes sense.
Okay, especially if they're holding position to where they're on the shuttle. And like we're beating feet and they're like boltering and throwing grenades as we, have to make a hasty retreat or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, fuck, if 2 of those guys stand at the back of that shuttle and lock those heavy bolters in, there ain't a hell of a lot other than like Tyranids that are going to make it through that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Venari just looks at Jarnan and Emmaus and says, any other preparations you feel like we need to make before we get out of here?
No, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I think I'm ready too.
All right, if their technology is low, then this may be easier than we thought, or maybe not.
Was there any contact or anything we were given? Or was it just to go scout and see what the situation is?
So this was under Imperial control, many moons ago. When the warp storms came, contact was lost. And with the warp storm receding, the planet has been rediscovered. So we have no idea where their loyalties may lie, if they even remember the Imperium.
According to my notes, yeah, that Lavina Toma, that's your Administratum contact. That's who theoretically is supposed to be in charge.
Okay.
On the planet now?
On the planet currently, yes.
Okay. I should probably update that note then. And do we have a name of the planet?
No, actually you don't. It probably would have one then if it was rediscovered, because that would require it to be undiscovered. Let's say it's wow. I think you're going to read into that if I say that. That was just the first thing that came to mind. I'm not going to call it Lazarus, because it's actually not anything to do with anything rising from the dead. So let's call it.
I mean, it could just be a number if it was an aggro world, you know.
We're going to call it Ballantine. Ballentine.
All right.
And she was our Administratum contact. That's what they said. So she should be a part of the Administratum, or that's who they said the contact.
That is who. I'm going to say there is a beacon from at the Capitol that you recognize. It's sending spaceport codes, and it provides, as part of the programming, assuming that it's up to date. There are biological signatures. So they're alive things. Assuming they are people and still doing what they should be doing, then that basically is sending a signal saying this is who you should talk to when you land. It's like when you land, this is the person, like the kind of quartermaster type person, but it's more of the administratum currently at that position.
Okay.
And how long?
If that makes sense.
Yeah. How long was the warp storm there, and how long have they not been in contact? Like, I think, like, we would know generally how long the warp storms were in place before.
So this is actually this is not in the Calixis. This is not in the Coronis Expanse. This is in the Calixis sector on the footfall side. It just so happened it was obscured. It's on the edge of the warp storm, and it's receded. It's been maybe 150 years. Not that long.
Okay, so it hasn't been that long. All right.
Correct.
Okay. And could we make a knowledge Imperium check to find out whether or not they had any trouble with the planet prior to its quote-unquote disappearance?
Yeah, you can certainly do that.
Because, of course, Venari never asked.
Why would he ask questions ahead of time?
I don't know. So, Int's 40. I rolled an 02. He knows everything.
Damn. Wow, I really wish I had there's actually, I'm stealing some stuff from another person that had a really whole letter thing that was written. I'm going to summarize instead of having a PDF of it. Yes, the planet before the storm occurred even had a bit of time that, so that it was a grain producing planet, rations and such. And you were searching through the ship's archives and some of your history data banks. And essentially there was a prior, administratum contact that was there, not listed as Lavina Toma. I'm going to say it is Roderick Marsden. And there was a letter that is archived from him, that was provided as part of the Ecclesiarchy's data files that they sent you, saying essentially that he had sent a letter requesting that someone investigate the colony because he believed the harvest essentially there was an organization, a sect, or almost like a religious organization / sub-ecclesiarchical group called the Harvest Cult. And their job was essentially they took care of the crops. And he was saying that something had happened, and he thought that the current members of the Harvest group were acting different, potentially acting against imperial interests, and requested that someone investigate and send someone to help look into this because it certainly wasn't in his purview. And since he, of course, believed that this was a linchpin of imperial, goods, people need to get this grain. It's the most important thing because he's the one in charge of it. Like, you have to send someone right now. I don't know what's happening, but it seems as if something is occurring with the group. They're acting more and more hostile towards us, and by us he means the Administratum. And I'm not sure what's happening, but you certainly don't want to lose this particular foothold agro-world because we produce some of the best grain in the Imperium. So it's basically that's the gist of the letter.
Okay. So I feel like to kind of retcon this information then, that Venari would have asked the servo skull at some point to look up information on the planet after, like, they get into the warp, and he's like, yeah, again, didn't ask any questions. So he says to the skull, like, check the database and find out. So, like, as he's like, all right, hey, we should probably get out of here, right? Let's go down, blah, blah, blah. The skull's like, but sir, I found the information that you've requested, and, like, reads the letter on the bridge.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say also that, like, as part of that, like, the Ecclesiarchy is, like, sent the ship data files that letter was part of as well.
Okay. All right.
Because that probably wouldn't be general knowledge. That would be like something that they received, but then no one did anything about it. And then there was a warp storm. So it was kind of like, fuck it, we have other stuff to do.
Yeah. So he just kind of, like, sits back, kind of like, hand on his chin, looks at Jarnan. It's like, well, maybe burning everyone moves up to plan A if this harvest cult has taken over the planet in the last 150 years.
See, the God Emperor does tell me what is going on in the universe, and now you should listen to me.
As always, I am always at your. You always have my ear, Jarnan. The light of the God Emperor protects us all.
I don't have your ear yet.
And he kind of, like, sort of, like, leans back and, like, looks at you askance. And he, like, scratches his arm where he was burned a couple of sessions ago. All right. Well, we should, as always, we should be on guard, but we should be maybe guarded in our speech as well as we investigate this mystery.
I would agree with that. we must be careful about what we say once we get to the planet. This cult doesn't exactly sound friendly.
They do
I
not.
didn't have a great word for it. I'm not gonna say like I use the word cult, but not necessarily in a bad way in that case, per se. I don't want you to be too suspicious just because of the name, but I didn't have another word for like people of like it was like a sub-religion that was literally their whole purpose was maintaining the grain and producing grain and rations for the Imperium. And they did it as a like indoctrinate people into this like mythos of why it's so important and how the God Emperor wants all this stuff. So it wasn't necessarily a cult as in like, I'm the new Jesus and we're evil. It's more like sanctioned. Like this is like what we do to ensure a stable kind of like, like the Catholic Church, it's been around for fucking ever. So if anyone's in charge of like the royals fight or whoever, or the governors and people take over, but like we have this people that are dedicated to just maintaining this one resource, like at least our livelihood is protected. It's kind of like the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, Jarnan just thinks every religion or group that's not under the God Emperor is a cult. So he's just gonna call it a cult.
Technically it is in service of the God Emperor. The cult is to serve the God Emperor. It's just their way of serving is producing grain. As an aside from like character,
Well, but until they become hostile to the process, I mean, the Administratum then would be the ones that oversee them to make sure that the grain goes back.
Yeah, like if they were like, oh, well, we're fucking taking this now, we're selling it to Chaos Marines, then they'd be like, burn them! You get a flamer, you get a flamer, everyone gets a flamer! And, then it's over. But as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do, yes, it was fine.
I mean, you can almost think of the mechanic as the same way. Like, they still serve the God Emperor. They just look at it a little bit differently.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, technically, they
as long as you're
worship a different god is the kind of the problem. Like, the Omnicide, they're like, yeah, let's hand wave. That's the same as the God Emperor. It's not the same, guys. The Omnicide is different. Like, they are like, yeah. No, the God Emperor's the Omnicide. He's not, guys. I just said that to those guys. Like, that's the whole thing with the fucking tech priests is like, the Mechanicus is entirely pretty much heretical, except they hand wave just enough. But they're also super useful. So the Empire's like, yeah, that's fine. We'll keep them around until they get to like. But we have the Ecclesiarchy to balance them out. They'll flame some people just in case. So it all works out. It all balances out, guys.
All right. So they started to gather all their shit up, and he gets on the comm to Kynnoch, and he says, "If you're finished with your nap, we're getting ready to head down. We've turned up some interesting information about an Imperium sanctioned harvest cult. Apparently, there was a situation with them possibly going against the Imperial interests on the planet. There was a letter that was sent prior to the warp storm. So we don't know exactly what we're getting into at the moment. But if you could gather your things, we will meet you down the shuttle."
And it's a brief pause, and then I shall meet you in the bay.
Excellent. And he walks closer to Emmaus, like ahead of Jarnan or behind Jarnan. You probably let Jarnan go first. And he kind of like as they're walking, he kind of like puts a hand on Emmaus's forearm to slow him, and they slow a little bit. And he's like, these guys, they're assholes. Like like you get me, right? Like I know I can count on you. I thought I could count on Kane, but he's fucking crazy. Like, every time something happened, he's fucking screaming and running around. I don't look, you and me, you keep an eye on the Navigator. Like, I know third eye, crazy shit, whatever. You get the psyker thing. Like, if something happens, the bolter in his head. Like, you get it, right?
I will keep an eye on him, sir, but I think we also have to maybe let him bed in a bit. And it's been a bit rough at the beginning, but he seems pretty impressive, so I wouldn't want us to, to cut off something that may be useful down the line. But I understand what you're saying. It has been a bit. There's been a bit of aggro going around the ship recently, so I will keep my eye on him. But I also think he could be a large plus and a value to the team. But I understand that this is an order from you, so I will do as you command.
I think he's more saying if his eyes start glowing red and his voice goes like 3 octaves deeper, fucking shoot him in the face. That's everyone. Every captain pretty much orders that against every psyker.
For a psyker, I got you.
Like, if he looks even slightly possessed, headshot, bolt pistol, like point blank, face him.
I'll put it this way then. So, sir, I will keep an eye on for any contamination or what's the right word? Possession. That's just a given. I think all of us feel that way about everyone, that we would all keep an eye out for that on everyone else. But for corruption, that's the word I was looking. So I will keep an eye out for corruption. But I also think some of the stress he's been under, or some of his actions and his attitude, I think from a personality standpoint, let's just see, he may be of value to the team, but I wouldn't hesitate if I do see any kind of demonic traits to take care of it for you and for us.
All right, good. He's 0 for 2 so far. I mean, we haven't seen him in combat yet. I mean, I have my fingers crossed. I mean, Jarnan, I know, he's solid. He just sets everything on fire. I mean, once shit's on fire, I mean, you've seen it. I mean, and he's got that flaming sword now. Fuck, I can't even imagine. Like, he kind of half pulls the power sword out, and he's like, it's a power sword, but it's not on fire. Like, it's not a flaming pat. All right, he pats you on the back. He's like, all right, it's fine. All right, let's stay focused. He points at his eyes. He's pointing to your eyes.
So, sir, before you go, I think we also have to keep an eye on Jarnan, because from what they're saying about the planet, there may be shades of gray. And obviously, Jarnan does not see shades of gray, so I wouldn't want us to jeopardize any success or future profit because of deviations from what Jarnan feels is the right path. I think we just have to keep an eye on these people. Have been, out of communication for 150 years. We just have to make sure that Jarnan doesn't just take that as all the clues or all the evidence he needs.
Yeah, he's really binary. Like, you see me like reaches down, he like scratches at his, like absolutely scratches at his arm.
When I look the other way, try to not to notice.
Yeah, I mean, we may have to give him a section of the city to burn. Like, I mean, we want to keep him happy, right? Like, I mean, absolutely. I trust him. I mean, he's a missionary, but there's, like you said, there's some shades of gray that we have to operate. Like, we're out in the wide expanse. We've got to make money. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of stress. Like, you don't want this job. Like this, there's a lot of prestige that comes along with this and a family name. But I'm telling you, some nights it's just, I got to fucking drink to sleep. It's such a fucking headache.
So I'll take a flask out and take a quick swig and give it to the captain. So I understand, sir. Yeah, I'm sure this will turn out all right. We just have to keep our eyes peeled.
Good man. He caps it back up, slaps you on the back, and he starts to walk ahead of you to like not catch up with Jarnan, but like not to be like, oh, we're talking about Jarnan.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll take a few steps back and let you go ahead faster.
All right.
What are you using, Kevin, for weapon? What's your primary weapon?
It is a.
You have a hell gun, right?
Well, no, I got a. Was it a bolt? It was a series bolt pistol.
Oh, okay.
CERES.
Just checking.
Yeah.
I was like, God, I hope you're not just using like a shotgun or something, because that's not gonna fucking help if a navigator goes fucking hell crazy. Navigators are at least, I don't know what this called, like dampened, so they're not like psychers that can just be possessed at any time. But yeah, certainly they're dangerous, potentially, although less dangerous than an astropath. So like as far as like corruption, they're not less likely to get corrupted, but I think everyone's always concerned about a psyker potentially. Anything can go wrong and a demon just comes into them. But yeah, if you're like, a bolt pistol is that's plenty.
So I will mark that down. That is one of my side responsibilities, is to keep an eye on and make sure it doesn't go wiggy.
I mean, to be fair, in the previous game, I literally told John's character, I think it was John's character, like, if that psyker, if you have any indication that psyker has gone rogue, take him down immediately. Like, do not hesitate. Take him out. And like, also, I shot one of our own player characters because he went ahead of my rogue trader.
No, I think it was an NPC. It was an NPC.
Was he an NPC?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a player character because people got really mad at me for it. And I was like,
maybe it was.
I'm pretty sure it was an NPC because they were like, okay, I head in, and I shot them in the back and said, I'm the Lord Captain and I go first, and kicked the door open and went through because they were like, what the fuck? Why is he shooting the Archmilitant for like going through the door? What the fuck? And I was like, I go first. I didn't order that entry. And yeah. And so people got really mad at me that I would have the audacity as a player to shoot my own player character in the back. It didn't kill him. I just shot him once and said, I'm going. Don't ever go ahead of me. Because he was kind of insane.
So I'm going to walk a bit slower.
He killed a possessed demon guy with one strike of a power sword. So like he was like obsessed with like, I can do anything. I don't care.
And my Archmilitant was so loyal that he fucking jumped in front of a bullet for you.
That's right. Or were you a Void Master? I thought you were a Void Master. Were you a Void Master?
No, in those games with Tad, I was the Archmilitant.
Okay. Maybe I shot the Void Master. I shot somebody. All I know is they were like, okay, I opened the door and I shot them immediately. So like, no. Pretty great. So yeah, always be on the lookout for corruption. Everyone in my Thursday night game is pretty much waiting to kill me. So, because I'm an unsanctioned, just psyker, unsanctioned, corrupt as fuck, and I'm making a demon weapon. Like I'm going to bind a demon into a sword and then be the worst possible player character you could have for that game. It's like a Call of Cthulhu game with an unstable guy with a fucking rocket launcher. It's like, that doesn't go well for anyone.
And the Necronomicon.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't going to go well, guys. Whoops. But, you know, good times.
Okay. So we go down and get on the shuttle.
Yes. You're on the shuttle. Are you editing all this out? That was a good convo, dude.
So it depends on how it depends on how the conversation flows. Sometimes I leave it like in game. That's great. And then other times I cut it and I stick it on the end.
And you put it back. That's weird. That's going to be really weird. Anyway. To like cut it. Anyway.
Well, so one of Kane's guys is co-pilot.
Yeah.
I've got Emmaus as pilot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I've got Kynnoch sitting between two of Kane's other guys.
Wow.
And I have Jarnan, Kane's other guy, and then me.
Pretty obvious. It's kind of obvious there. All right.
He doesn't say anything. Everybody just like, you know, it's assumed that Emmaus is going to pilot. And as people start to like sit, he's like, no, over there.
There's like name cards on each seat. All right. To get down to the planet, there's really no challenging test. The question is, where do you want to land? There's the primary capital, which I assume is where you're landing. The question is, there is a like spaceport landing pad, but you don't have to land on the landing pad if you want to land X amount out. If you want to, I mean, you could strafe the city. I don't know. You can go over the city and auspex it. You can auspex sort of from a distance, but not, you didn't get that much more than what the ship got. But the question is, are you landing like on the landing pad? Are you going to land far away? Are you going to land sort of close? What's the plan?
So we're going down in the shuttle, right? We're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going down the shuttle. Is there any communication that we hear coming back? You know, you said there was a beacon sending out kind of bio information and things like that. Is there any
automated, but no manual communication? No.
Okay. So there's no harbor master or anything calling out.
Not that you've detected.
Okay.
If we're still on the ship,
sure,
you know, we're preparing, you know, we're getting in the shuttle, everybody's getting strapped in. He jumps on the comm and he calls Chad. And he's like, Explorer Chad, can you run a diagnostics on that signal real quick as we're getting ready to leave? Can you determine the age of the signal? Is it an up-to-date code? Is it an older code?
Ooh, all right. Yes, sir. Running diagnostic now.
It's an older code, but it checks out.
Yeah. This is going to be a tough one. I don't know what penalty to put on that, because it would be how when was it updated? It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, you guys have crack crew?
Yep. Is Chad considered? We do, for sure. Is Chad considered crack? Because I don't know. Was he one of the original crew members? I don't remember how he came about. I think so.
I think I just added him as a named crew member.
Yeah,
just
we don't
like,
have.
Oh, you just. Yeah, you didn't have that, so I kind of was just like, and somehow the joke became his name was Chad, and then his name was Chad. So, all right, I'm gonna give him. He's gonna have crack crew. Yes, something else.
Well, I was gonna say he also, when we went back to Port Wanderer, he also spent some time at the Adeptus Mechanicus building campus, whatever, and did some additional studies while he was there as well. So,
okay.
So he would. So what I'm saying is he would probably at least be cracked then, because he had that extra.
Yeah.
I assume they have tech use probably 10%. I think maybe. I don't know. He probably has a PC.
Sure.
Probably take that, right?
Yeah.
But he would have a combi tool, right? I mean, that's 10%.
Doesn't matter. He rolled pretty bad. He can't pinpoint the date that it was changed. He does it. It's been changed. It has been changed since the last time a ship showed up was a different name, so it has been updated since.
Okay.
It has been updated since whatever the last logged ship to land here was. But he doesn't have he doesn't have a date of how recent that was.
Okay.
It was at least 150 years ago, but he doesn't know when in between.
Sure. Does it seem as if, and I don't know, based on the check, I guess he would know. Does it seem as if the signal is just a steady automated stream, or do you? I mean, obviously we have life forms that we
It's
can
all
read down
lock
there?
and key systems, sir. When a ship is in range, the machine spirits interact and rectify codes. So we provide the key and they have the lock, and if we have a valid Imperial signal, it will transmit information and approve landing in an automated fashion.
Okay, so we are clear on all counts then?
You hear you hear tapping, clicking. Yes, it seems we are clear to land at the spaceport if desired, Captain.
All right. Thank you, Chad.
Chad out.
All right, now let's do it. I mean, if we're gonna head into the city, I assume we should just land at the spaceport. We may want to do additional scans as we get closer to the city, see if there's anything else that turns up, any strange signals we may encounter.
So we'd probably have one of the, if I'm doing the piloting, we have the co-pilot do the scanning, or would that be the best way to go about it?
Yeah, I guess, are they going to scan at 20 then? Is there any possibility that somebody in Kane's crew would have scrutiny?
I mean, no. Well, maybe.
Me, a comm guy, but that.
I mean, they don't really roll like that. They don't do like the half. Crack just always rolls at 40.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much. There's no like, oh, it would be scrutiny versus awareness. It's just like crack crew is 40 for everything.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Or,
right.
I mean, theoretically, so I'm going to, basically, just so you know, unless you decide to do something particularly, like,
crazy,
Daredevil, unless you're, Evil Knieveling something, if you're just, we do a standard approach and land on the spaceport, I'll give you the heads up, nothing happens, you just land. Because you have a valid Imperial code and there's a signal sent. So theoretically, the Emmaus could scan if he needed to as well. It's not like he's doing crazy maneuvers. He's not busy.
Well, I would to metagame.
I don't know what his scrutiny is. So
yeah, you'd be rolling at half. So Frick is with us. So since he's just kind of chilling in the co-pilot's chair, then, or no, he wouldn't be. Because that'd be Gerhard.
Yeah, it'd be a pilot, and not that any of them roll any different, but yeah.
Yeah. Right. So he says to Gerhard, then he's like, "Why don't you scan the city as we get closer? Make sure that we don't have any strange life forms, anything that's gonna catch us by surprise as we come into the spaceport."
Roger that. I'm gonna have you roll that though, because it's gonna be garbage if I roll. Tandi's roller, come on.
All right.
He's gonna be pissed if he hears this somehow.
34.
All right. So our scans look clean. Standard humanoid signatures. A few. He brings up, there's a little display that he brings up that shows it's some defensive towers. However, they wouldn't, even if engaged, do much against our armor. It does seem to be Imperial make, but they do look somewhat outdated.
All right, good to know. I guess bring us into the spaceport proper then. Let's do this by the book, gentlemen.
So you said, Neil, did you want me to roll, or do you say it's just the standard?
Nope, you land.
Okay.
If you want to if you're just doing standard landing, that's not a hard thing. You've done it a billion times.
Yeah.
You do notice, however, on approach that the landing facility looks quite dilapidated. It's sort of, there's some when plants and stuff start kind of growing through concrete. It doesn't look particularly well maintained or even used, essentially, at least for a very long time. So it looks structurally intact, but isn't aesthetically very pleasing anymore. As you approach the ship, the shuttle makes a touchdown on the pad, and you kind of see out the view window, like even the building doesn't look. It's not like there's overgrowth or anything, but it's certainly not like shiny and new. It's like an old warehouse style building, fairly, low tech at this point. That's what you see as you land.
Okay. This is, I guess, what we'd expect, right? I mean, they've been out of the Emperor's grace for the last 100 or so years, so I don't see anything too out of place so far.
So no one's coming out or anything?
I mean, for a few seconds, no. And then if you're talking for a few minutes, yes, you see a woman in administratum robes, not as, hunched over and book writing mechadendrite scribe tine style. Looks much more human and less haggard than many of them do. Probably fairly, relatively young. You don't know her exact age. Not like a teenager or anything, but like certainly younger. People in this universe live to like 300 sometimes. So like she could be 70 for all you know, but you still look pretty young. In this case, you don't actually know, but she definitely isn't like a 250-year-old, high-level administratum person. She walks out and approaches the ship and then stops and kind of like holds up a hand.
Venari puts a hand out from the windscreen, flicks on the external speaker, and is like, greetings and well met. We are exiting the shuttle now. We would very much like to speak with you.
She bows deeply. Thank the Lord Emperor. We've waited so many years. You are Imperium, right?
Yes, we are.
Oh, I knew that we would be blessed one day for the return of our brethren.
He winks at Jarnan. We will be out momentarily.
She bows and starts kind of going toward, like the back where the door would have theoretically open.
All right.
Or side, wherever the door typically is on this pattern of shuttle.
I think it's on the side, right? So I envision it's sort of like a Huey. So the gun is on one side, and then there's just doors on the other side.
Yeah, sure.
So he will grab both a frag and a smoke grenade.
Okay.
Just in case. And he looks at Kane / Venari's crew and says, I want you guys to stay here, button it up, stay frosty. If you don't think those defensive turrets are going to, do too much damage to the shuttle, you guys should be pretty safe here. Keep comms open. If anything untoward looks like it's about to happen, let me know right away, and we will maybe just have to bug right out of here.
Roger that, Captain. We'll keep eye on the sky, and in case of any emergencies, we'll make sure we can hot start this shuttle and get you out of any possible trouble.
All right, sounds good. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And Kynnoch, even though he necessarily doesn't give a crap, he will still understand the situation and have his hollow suit deactivated right now.
Good plan.
And he'll be buttoned up, like a hood over the head, and face covered up, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, considering Jarnan still doesn't even know you have the hollow suit.
Very true.
So
Well, Neil's going to be right back. I am too.
Yeah. So he puts an arm around your shoulder. Kynnoch kind of pulls you in close, and he's like, "I appreciate your discretion in this matter. You know, you having your hood on and everything."
I understand that some people are put off by my appearance, at least at first. It is a situation that I have had to deal with ever since I left my mothership.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think people would be used to your, you know, and he kind of like waves his hand over his face. Appearance. You know, the navigators are an essential, part of space travel. It is somewhat unnerving, you have to understand.
Indeed, and some might say that I have received the short end of the stick when it comes to the alterations that my powers have bestowed upon me. But I take it all in stride.
Alterations, right? Oh, right. Alterations, yes. I hope that things start to smooth out between us. I know things have been a little rocky. I'm looking forward to having you fit in with the crew.
No offense, Captain, but fitting in is never something that I have necessarily been able to accomplish, nor has stride for. My people often find themselves on the outskirts, and we have in some parts been forced into that matter, and it is a role that I have welcomed. Oftentimes it is why you have not seen me on the main bridge. I prefer to stay in the navigation chambers and do my part from there. However, with the lack of sufficient assistance as of late, it has been I felt my place upon the bridge to make an example. I will, though, apologize for the recent events that our travels have taken us into.
When you say recent events, the servo skull, which was on my left side, kind of like buzzes around to the other side and like beeps at you a couple of times, and I just kind of look at it and I shake my head.
I'll take so he almost looks like ultimate hermit now. He has like the cloak on with the hood and the mouth, and he has like a scarf around his mouth, and he also walks with a staff as well. And so he'll take the staff and just kind of like give the end like a little towards the servo, still like get it out of his area, his personal bubble.
It like beeps again, kind of like swirls up and around and kind of like swirls by your head and then comes back around on the other side like an angry puppy. So he's with that resolved, quote unquote resolved. He punches the button and he strolls down the ramp.
All right. You approach. You see, probably middle-aged to us, but maybe a little older for their age. Woman, fairly attractive, especially for Administratum. Again, not normal. Normally they're hunched and stooped, and their eyes are quite bad, and they have multiple scribe tines and all that sort of stuff because they're just hunched over books all the time and data slates. Likely not the case on this planet. So it's kind of lucky, at least I guess for your back. She says, please introduce yourself. I am Lavina, overseer of the Ballantine Administratum. My name is Lavina Toma. It is a pleasure to meet you. You are you Administratum supply ships?
So is she like? Does she have all the shit on her, or is she like a normal person? Does she have any?
She's actually a normal person.
So
it doesn't look quite like there's that much technology to be that level.
Yeah. So Venari being Venari, he bows and he takes her hand and he says, I have never seen one from the Administratum as beautiful as yourself.
She blushes. You can tell she blushes some. She's like, this is not protocol, although I appreciate it.
Protocol. I am Rogue Trader Venari Hallerman. This is my crew. Jarnan, Morgun from is one of the missionaries that accompanies the ship. This is Kynnoch. He is our navigator, and Emmaus, our pilot.
Ah, a rogue trader. Oh, fascinating. I thought for sure it would be Imperium proper ships that would have come to take our tithe to the God Emperor.
Well, we of course work under the auspices of the holy God Emperor, and blessed be his light upon all of us.
Oh, of course. I didn't mean to suggest you were one of those, one of those rogue traders. Of course, you serve the God Emperor as a faithful servant, and of course, your missionary is with you, showing your devout praise to the Emperor's light. I just mean it's been so long since we've had a ship. We have been gathering the harvest for decades, more than a century, without any imperial ships to secure the tithe. The harvest cult has been working diligently to continually harvest the mandated quota per year. And unfortunately, it now sits in warehouses. But you're here now. You're here to take the tithing and, again, deliver us in service of the God Emperor.
Yes, indeed. The location of the planet was long hidden from us due to a warp storm in the sector. It has recently been revealed, which is why we're here to check on your well-being and also to see if there was anything that we would be able to help you with.
Oh, of course. I wasn't aware that there was any difficulty in reaching our system. I had assumed that perhaps it was an error in the database systems or some other such issue.
The all-knowing Emperor never makes a mistake.
Of course. I don't. She kind of like gives a sideways glance a little bit to the missionary. She's like, of course, I would not impugn his higher authority, but
I think her and Kynnoch share that sideways glance a little bit.
But that it doesn't matter now. Of course, it's ready. The harvest is ready, and you're here. You can secure our tribute to the God Emperor, and of course, I'm happy to help in any way I can. I am here to serve the Imperium. It is my faithful duty.
How long have you been the Administratum in charge here?
Unfortunately, Roderick had passed away perhaps 20 years ago. I have been in charge since then.
Were you the next in line chain of command wise?
Yes, I was. I was his second in command, learning the ways and interfacing with the Harvest Mother in order to coordinate the harvest schedule and shipments. Even though we had not had anyone to receive the shipments, I have made sure to catalog each of them in great detail, and they are ready for immediate transport should you desire.
Excellent. Perhaps we should go review the records and see to securing the grain and also bringing down some shuttles to transport it up to the ship.
Certainly. Of course, if you have cargo shuttles, those would be most appropriate. We have had many years of surplus, and so there's quite a bit in order to transport. So it may take a little while. I'm happy to, of course, arrange any stays or anything you need within the city limits. If you so desire, of course, you're welcome to go to your ship. But yes, would you like to inspect the tithe?
He looks to the rest of the crew and he says, "Perhaps we should." And he steps forward and, puts an arm around her waist to walk with her to wherever we're going.
Okay. She's kind of like, she just goes with it. She's like, yeah, this is cool. And she starts walking. She walks you toward the main warehouse building. There is a land vehicle, essentially like a futuristic truck, essentially van type thing, transport vessel. Wait, what power is that? Senescence?
No, that's a navigation power that lets me see whether or not people are void tainted.
Do you have senescence?
Don't tell me.
I do, yeah.
It's pretty okay. I was just checking, just so I know, because I know that's what my guy's main thing is that. So on a Thursday game. So she starts. She's like, "I'll take you now." So she starts navigating you through sort of the landing pad, sort of on the outskirts ish of the city. She's kind of taking you through the city a bit, toward again sort of the outside. So staying not sort of straight through, kind of on the outskirts, on the way toward the fields. I would say you were able to see them on your approach, is sort of on the opposite side of the kind of like a big, round city. You're kind of here, and it's kind of cut through a little bit of this section to get to the fields over here. Go ahead. Yeah, if you guys have things you want to chat about, go ahead.
Well, so I was just going to say, if Venari and her are talking, I was going to just grab Jarnan and say it may be worth seeing if we can get out from under observation or heavy observation. I'm sure we'll need people to guide us around, but with your background and with my background coming from, being from an agro-world, I'm really interested to see what's actually going on with this cult that keeps getting mentioned, at least from an agri point from my side, and then maybe from the religious point from your side. So it may be worth seeing if we can get someone to take us out to show us the workings of the harvest and maybe actually what they're doing, the harvest cult actually does.
I think your knowledge would actually be indispensable, and I would gladly have you come with me. And actually, as a note, while we're talking, Jarnan has his flamethrower out and is singeing all of the plant life that has been growing through the landing pad.
Sure.
Just as course, just like, just very methodical, just clearing a path as he goes.
Okay.
But no, I think I personally do not have a lot of knowledge when it comes to this type of work. So I think combining our two specialties and our two backgrounds would actually work out very well in getting everything that we need.
I'm just thinking that we should probably come at it from both sides of our knowledge, because if we come at from one or the other, we may get a stilted view. We need to get it from the agri side and from the religious side, because without both, either side could probably maybe look a bit wrong if you're not taking it as a whole. So we should probably suggest to her that we take a trip out to see what's going on.
Yes, I'm particularly interested in this Harvest Mother. I don't know if that's just a title or that just seems a little more respectful of a title than somebody who just takes care of grain.
Agreed. So once we can peel the captain away from her, we should probably ask her to set something up.
Good luck.
I would actually suggest not peeling the captain away from her. Maybe he can kind of keep her occupied, as the case may be, and we can go off on our own without her knowing exactly what's going on.
Yeah, so maybe that's a better play. Maybe we let them be distracted and find one of her underlings. That'll probably be a bit easier to push around.
He does have the fancy cloak, after all.
So as you guys are having that conversation, she titters and he just laughs out loud.
How much? I would say he probably brought up the cloak right there. That's probably why she laughed.
Yeah, it's usually his go-to move. Is he peacocking though?
And there he goes swishing it. He is peacocking, but let's go.
Like, where I shot this Xenos? It's a fantastic story.
Look at this beautiful stitching. I had it rehemmed recently.
Is that where you stepped on it?
Yes.
So probably, yeah, if we find someone, maybe one of her underlings, and set something up. But then, Kynnoch, was there anything that you wanted to do? Is there anything you wanted to take a look at?
I was actually going to peruse this small town and just attempt to get a sense if there's any latent taint or warp residue that has settled upon this area.
Probably actually a good idea too. So I think we can leave the captain to whatever ministrations he has planned, and we can go act. I was going to say, so we can go out and actually get some work done. So we can go get some work done.
Well done. I feel that we would be a little more accomplished if he were to do his thing.
So you fucking guys.
Come on, that's the way everybody talks about bosses, right? They all talk about the bosses that way.
So at least as far as so just so you know, the current plan is for her to take you to the harvest, like the tithe warehouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these conversations are happening simultaneously.
Yeah. I just want to make sure everyone knows that you are going to look in the area of where the harvest procedure takes place.
Okay.
So it's not like you'd have to go that far out of the way. I don't want you to think that's somewhere way off in the other side of the planet. Or something.
What I just thought when you said we would see the harvest, I thought we were going to see the bundled up warehouse.
No, that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
It just so happens some of the fields are there, but for the most part, it's like a giant fucking set of warehouses with whatever rations they produce.
So that would be the end point. Yeah. So that's the end point. We wanted to see kind of how it got to that point Yeah, and the Harvest Mother thing, that was definitely something that sprung up that we definitely
that would not be at the warehouses. Clearly. Someone who's in charge of shit doesn't usually dick around at the warehouse.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. If that's it, she basically takes you across the outskirts of the city a bit. The city doesn't look particularly run down. It looks well maintained. It doesn't seem like there's any disorder. There are people walking. There are shops. There's residential buildings, that sort of thing. Looks like it's in fairly decent order. You approach the. Is that a raise your hand to ask a question?
Yes. I was trying to do it subtly so we wouldn't have to break.
Sure. Okay.
Is there any Imperium iconography on the buildings? Are there, like Imperial banners? Is there anything that's like, hey, we're the Imperium of Man kind of thing?
Yeah. The buildings, I mean, it's not overly crazy, but yes, there are. So like any building that looks
official,
like a government building, certainly has Imperium iconography on it, like the Imperium Herald and all that sort of stuff. Things on the fancy buildings, like the government buildings, are in High Gothic, which is fairly routine for that level. Other stuff is in Low Gothic, like routine stuff. But yes, it doesn't look, there's nothing that would set this apart other than the fact that it's not like a hive world or anything crazy. Like as an agro-world, it's not, I don't know I guess you would know enough about, in general, about an agro-world, that it's not always the highest technology, but it's not nothing heretical, and there's no overt like scrubbing of Imperium stuff. There is Imperial, the buildings all have Imperial signals, on government potential buildings, or even like low-level government buildings, right? Like tax offices and shit. You will see Imperial insignias and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that Venari would notice in the current situation, but as player, I guess.
Yeah.
I think maybe Jarnan would probably notice that more, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody's paying attention.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. Yeah. Next time I won't call it out.
I think your cat has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what? Sorry. More editing. As you approach, she's like, "Oh, all right. We're coming up on our storage facilities." She pulls into this lot, and there are just fucking like massive warehouses that just stretch on and on. I mean, this is like 40K style, like fucking mile-long warehouses that are just insane, with giant bay doors, one of which that she pulls up to one that's open, and there are just bundles of grain and what looks to be some sort of machinery that they're feeding the grain into. And then there are also crates that people are packing what looks to be some sort of, I don't know, like ration bars, some sort of packaged food item. They're packing into these crates. She says, "Of course, I would love to have you inspect our operations. If you'd wait here, I'll go grab one of the acolytes to orient you."
Ah, indeed. It would be good to see how things are progressing and what the Imperium should expect to receive.
Excellent. She bows. She walks on. In the side, you see her talking to a younger guy. It looks like some sort of formal robes. He comes with her back. Everyone would notice it. Jarnan would notice first, I'm sure. The pendant he wears is an ecclesiarchy symbol, but with like grain, sprigs of grain kind of crossed in the background. So it is reminiscent of ecclesiarchy iconography, but potentially some more specific sect. He comes up, bows deeply. Welcome to Ballantine. It's my pleasure to show you around and to show you the operations. My name is Acolyte Kober, Kober. I am one of the apprentices in charge of maintaining and reviewing operations here. I'm happy to show you around. Any questions you have, I'm sure I can answer.
Indeed, we wish to see how industrious you've been. This is quite an impressive assemblage of machinery and industry going on right now. We'd like to take a look at the books, of course, and see. It's been quite a while since someone from the Imperium has been here. We wish to rectify that and continue the deal, the plan. I don't know, what would you call it? The arrangement that was in place before the warp storm removed your planet from the Emperor's holy light.
Oh well, I had not heard you say a warp storm. That sounds terrifying. What is a warp storm? The warp is evil, right? Where chaos resides, according to the teachings.
He kind of looks over at Kynnoch to explain, because Venari doesn't fucking know, like, whatever.
And Kynnoch is just kind of shaking his head subtly. Not that you can necessarily tell. But the immaterium, the warp, is another level of existence. Yes, it is necessary for the balance. It is true that it is chaotic and perverse with its power, though.
Well, if it has stopped us from being able to provide our tithe to the God Emperor, then it must surely be evil. That is our mission. That is our goal. That is what we live for, is to provide the Imperium with rations, with food that brings life, much like the God Emperor's light.
The warp is neither evil nor good. It has no meaning. It has ability. It has no agenda.
He looks. Give me an awareness check.
That would be a 5 out of 58.
He definitely gets pale. He doesn't say anything, but he certainly is noticeably nervous with what you said. Out of character, it's because he would have been taught anything from the warp is evil, and heresy. So someone saying it has no agenda is basically like saying, well, the devil's not that bad. He's just
to be fair, he wasn't saying that like creatures from the warp aren't evil, but the warp itself is not evil.
That's a subtlety that this 20-year-old who's a cult member
subtlety that I expect a plebeian such as him to expect.
He's like, I don't get it, and you're speaking in like philosophical terms above his pay grade. So he's kind of like, regardless, it seems as if this warp storm was acting against the Emperor's light. It is our role to provide these foods for the people, and so please, I'm happy to show you around.
Sure.
So he takes you through. If you guys are all going, I don't know if anyone's splitting off. Let me know. Otherwise, he's kind of going to go through, and he's like, this is where all of the bundled grains are assembled, and then we will end up taking the bundled grains, as you see, and feeding them into the processing equipment. Of course, the machine's spirits are quite fickle, but we have maintained them to the standards set forth for us by the Adeptus Mechanicus, and we have maintained these machinery for over a century without adequate supply. We're quite resourceful, as you can see. We're quite proud of it, and so it feeds out these rations that we have packed. The rations, of course, we have accumulated them each year. Our quota has been a minimum of 2 million rations per year, and so we have secured them, and now 153 years worth of rations are now awaiting delivery to the Imperium.
Does Lavina go with us, or does she kind of stay off by the...
No, she goes with you.
Okay.
Just as a real quick note, I think once they actually started talking about stuff, Kynnoch would get bored really quick and just kind of wander off.
Okay.
Venari is trying to pay attention, but he's distracted and kind of doesn't care. Like, everything seems to check out so far. This looks like an easy mission. They're like all into the Emperor and shit. So it's like, hey, we're gonna get the fucking grain and get out of here. So he's like, yeah, you maintain, it's fine, whatever. Like, we can bring a tech priest down and give everything a good once over. And, get some fucking lube in there, whatever. Like, you're fine, all right.
So yeah, you look down and there's literally like fucking miles of rations, like crates of rations stacked 20 high, just fucking tons and tons and hundreds of thousands and millions of tons of fucking rations that these people have fucking, every little detail, just fucking packaged and like warehouses that are sure there are multiple ones, but this is the main hub, so they all end up eventually here. So
as they're walking, so like this goes on for like a half an hour, right? Like he's just fucking yammering and shows.
Yeah, going and going and going and going. He's so proud of it though. Like it is like as if like I don't know, some person who's literally like at level of cult status is so proud of their project. And he's like, the only person who cares about my life is here now. And I get to tell them how much work we've been doing for a century. And this is the best day. He thought he could legitimately die.
So he kind of
anyone give a fuck. And now all of a sudden it's almost like God came down and said, everything you've been doing matters. And so he's just every detail, every single thing he knows, he's telling.
Yeah. So what he doesn't realize, it's a rogue trader who could go and know the shit.
Doesn't give a fuck about any of this, because unless it makes him money and he loads shit up, he doesn't give a fuck.
All he wants is those crowns and that ass.
That's right.
And he thinks he's getting both tonight. So,
Kynnoch, if you wander off, can you give me an awareness roll, but use your senescence?
Yes.
Or
that's
you can
actually
use
what about the senescence, and I was like, oh, I'll use that.
It's very
that
useful.
would be a 20 out of 58.
you really detect warp energies.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, oh, the warp's everywhere. Like warp corruption. And it's present and gets stronger as you walk toward the as you kind of wander at the older, further back ration areas. And you certainly feel it concentrated in the older stuff.
Okay. And now this isn't, I'm assuming you said corruption. This isn't just like, oh, they were in a warp storm, the whole system was kind of covered and concealed, and they just have like a strong warp residue. This is like, it's actually been affected.
Yes. As in emanating dark warp energy.
Okay.
And you feel it much more strongly toward the back of the warehouse.
Okay.
So that would be the older, we're assuming that would be the older stock if it's towards the back?
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's coming from the stock itself, or is this a different source just further back in the warehouse?
You definitely, based on your observations, the new grain that's being processed is less affected, significantly less affected than the processed rations. The closer you get to processed rations and the further back you go, the more signature you detect.
Okay, so it's definitely coming from the grain and the rations then.
That's what you feel. You feel as if there is a very specific energy coming from them.
Okay. Right on. All right. I'll kind of finish my lap. I don't want to like immediately bolt back to the captain. I kind of want to do it a little nonchalantly and a little less I don't want to be suspicious. I don't want to raise attention. So
yeah, I mean, I mean, you have people's attention because you're like,
as much as I already will.
Yeah. But well, even then, like, I mean, there's a fucking guy with like a Xenos high cloak and a goddamn power sword, and they're like, guy with a power sword, and then like you guys have fucking bolt pistols and a goddamn like giant flamer, and they're like, these guys have crazy shit. I mean, it's like seeing a fucking like super commando walk through, and they're like, like, these guys are fucking insane. But yeah, you're not like, but that's what they expect from an Imperial inspector, is like hardcore people. So, but they're still like, but no one's been there for so long that they're just kind of like, oh my God. But yes, you can be nonchalant and no one's like thinking you're doing something. And
we're
so
there
he's
to
like,
expect anyway. So
yeah. So he's like, that's so after, it's like 40 minutes. He's like, would you like to keep going? I can show you the older stocks if you'd like, anything you want. As you can see, we have plenty of rations for you to deliver. We're here to serve.
This was very informative. You're doing a great job. I just want you to know that this looks fantastic. I'm glad that you guys, by the Emperor's grace, were able to continue operations in the hopes that someone would return. But how do you guys keep all this stuff fresh? I mean, it's been 150 years. Like, you would think that the grain would spoil, right?
We were told Well, we were told the machine spirits are able to preserve these goods for much longer, centuries, millennia, if necessary. And so we have stored them as required. At least that is what the teachings have said. I don't know. Surely you don't. You want the tithe, correct? You want all of the tithe. You don't. Surely you don't want us to rid ourselves of any of the old stocks. We've worked so hard.
Yeah, no. Everything looks up to snuff. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, he's like, oh, thank you, sir. It is a great honor for me to serve. And anything else you would need, surely. If you'd like, would you like to? I can show you all of the rations. If you like, we could open up one of the machines. I am not a tech priest, but we could look inside if you'd like to. There are very many intricate parts in there, with many liquids and preservatives that we have to create with various rituals and diagnostics, and it's all quite fascinating. Of course, that's why I've dedicated my life to it.
I can tell. I don't believe there's any reason to break open the instrumentation. I have some little experience with the machine spirits. He pats the gun. He's like, "This is the only machine spirit that I need to concern myself with." Here.
He's kind of like, ooh, and he's like, of course. Well, I don't. If you have any other questions, please contact me. I feel free to know. I can arrange with whomever on your ship is your quartermaster or whomever to begin deliveries, loading up your cargo bays. I'm not sure. Of course, Ms. Toma should be able to organize deliveries where the grain and rations should be taken. That is not my role, of course, but I will do everything I can to have everything ready and secured for your ships on time.
No, I didn't explicitly say it before, but would it be reasonable that I had brought an extra data pad so that they could transfer the information? So
that's fine. Manifest shit you would definitely have, yeah.
Yes. So he reaches into a pot, grabs a data slate, throws it at, tosses it to him. Yeah. And he's like, please transfer all of the pertinent information to this data slate so that we can make sure we have copies and I can review this at my leisure.
He turns on. He's like, excellent. I will do this as soon as possible. The Harvest Mother is going to be ecstatic. And he almost runs off lightfootedly.
Before he runs off, I'm gonna kind of grab him by the shoulder.
He's like, yes.
Before you run off, your pendant.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. What's the design on it?
It's the symbol of the harvest. This is the Harvest Mother signal or insignia. It represents our dedication of the harvest to the God Emperor's light.
Oh, okay, because it looks a little different than mine, and I'm gonna pull out my sword and show him the God Emperor, the flaming power sword, and just kind of hold it up to his face and be like, "This is what the symbol is supposed to look like."
Do you have intimidation? If you don't, I'm not going to give you a penalty because you're going to get a bonus to that, but I'm just going to see, unless you're not trying to intimidate him, but
no, I do, and I have +10 to intimidate.
I feel like he's going to get intimidated by this regardless. It's definitely intimidating, so.
Okay. 53 out of 40.
Okay. He still looks at you. He doesn't look scared, but he looks very confused. Almost like he doesn't understand how it's different. Or that it's not different to, like, he's like, but the God Emperor's symbol, this is our worship of him. I don't understand. They're the same. And he like points to like everything but the grain sprigs, essentially. And he's like pointing, he's like, this is the God Emperor, right?
That is the God Emperor. And I'm going to specifically point to the grain and be like, this is not. What is this?
I don't understand. That is what we give to the Emperor. That is all we can contribute to the Emperor's light in the universe, is to feed the masses who deliver his word like you. You travel on ships throughout thousands and billions of miles of space, and we're told that our job is to feed you. And so that is what we do. We've dedicated our lives to this.
Okay. That I truly appreciate all that you have done, and I am sure the God Emperor absolutely values your contribution. Who, may I ask, is this Harvest Mother you keep speaking of?
Oh, she is the keeper of the word. She is the one who maintains the teachings of the harvest, and the one who makes sure that we are able to produce our tithe every year for the God Emperor, and for you, and for all of the citizens of the Imperium.
Is there any way that I could meet her?
Of course. You're a member of the church, correct?
Correct.
You are one of the holy ones.
That is not the thing that is up for debate.
Oh, I was not. Please don't think I'm questioning. I'm saying you are. Of course she would want to meet you. She would love to meet a member of the God Emperor's church directly, not one. Yeah, we have been all born on this planet, but you see the God Emperor's light in the stars where he exists.
Do you see the God Emperor's light on this planet?
Well, I don't. I am unable to see. I feel his light, but we are unable to see it.
I'll see what I can do about that problem.
Bless you, although I can't imagine. I do not, please forgive me, but I do not wish to have those abilities. We have not seen black ships for many, many years. I find it a blessing. We cannot, in that way, we won't gain the attention of those who would do us harm. Psykers are dangerous.
I absolutely agree on that. That is a good teaching to have. I believe in the near future I will be having a conversation with your Harvest Mother about what other teachings you may have, and what best way to teach everyone here about the God Emperor.
Of course, she resides at the temple. He takes a data slate, and hands it to you. There are the coordinates. It is our main temple. It is in the capital here. So you can see her at any time. And of course, if you would like me to be there, I'd be more than happy to arrange so. You can contact me via microbeat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I will be looking in on her shortly. Thank you for the information you were able to provide.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Again, I revel in your magnificence, and I am blessed to see the God Emperor's light in person. from a true missionary, a keeper of the word. And so I will leave you now. I'm going to work as hard as I can. I will work for hours upon hours. I will not sleep this evening until I make sure that all of the manifests are rectified and that you have a schedule for optimal loading onto your ship.
That sounds perfect, and I hope that you do see the God Emperor's light either in you or around you at some point in the future.
Oh, I feel him always. And then he shuffles off.
Oh, that was such horrible foreshadowing.
What? That was like 5 shadowing.
So I think Venari would have like perked up at black ships and would have like leaned in close because we'd fought a fucking Chaos Marine. So he kind of leans in close to Jarnan and he goes, black ships? Like not in a few years? Like what? I mean,
do you want me to explain what black ships are? Mythology.
Oh, I know.
Ooh, I know.
They're quite important in the Warhammer 40k universe in particular. Yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead, Kynnoch.
Oh no, I'll let Jarnan take this one.
Okay, go ahead.
From what I understand, they were basically heretical ships that were just the.
Oh no, they're the opposite.
Oh yeah.
They're the ships that are sent out to pick up every psyker.
That's right.
Black ships pick up all psychers and they take them back to determine if they're able to be sanctioned and are safe for use, or unsanctioned, in which case they're fed to the God Emperor. And they
that's right. Weren't Jesse and Kevin weren't like your characters like from black ships or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
My house, my Navigator house specifically serves black ships.
Okay.
Yeah, the black ships are essentially a fleet of ships that go to every planet routinely to pick up all psychers for determination if they should be exterminated or if they're useful. But none of them have shown up here for over 150 years, which is to essentially anyone, maybe not Venari, at least, everyone other than Venari would 100% know that's fucking weird. Like, he may not have heard of it, but definitely Kynnoch and Emmaus, for being on a black ship, would know for a fact that's fucked up. That's not just uncommon, that's nearly impossible. Even if there's a warp storm, it would be weird. Like, if they knew there was a planet there, they would try to get to it. I would assume Jarnan would know a similar, like, that's really weird, because unsanctioned psychers are the most dangerous thing. And the Emperor needs to eat psyker souls to maintain his beacon, so they also need to feed him 1,000 psyker souls a day.
Yeah. We'll be
they have to get them.
We'll be passing that knowledge on, make sure that a black ship swings by here.
So yeah, it's very concerning.
Yeah. I think that the mention of a black ship is a perfect time for Kynnoch to complete his cycle.
Yeah. So you come back as he mentions that, and Venari's like, "What the fuck? What are these black ships?"
Yeah, he was thinking something completely different.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just painted black? Is that to blend in with space? Is that
Stealthy.
I mean, it's kind of funny they're called black ships, and they're like, we're trying to take the most dangerous. It's basically like if there was like a bus that drove around trying to pick up psychopaths and serial killers. Because like any psyker could legitimately go insane and murder people, all like get possessed and immediately murder everyone around him in like millionfold by a demon if it gets possessed. And it's like they drive around, people are like, that's the black bus. It takes serial killers away. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you call it like the rainbow bus? Because it's really taking the most fucked up people out of here.
Yeah, I know. So Kynnoch will kind of saunter up at that point. Like, Why would we be talking about black ships on a agro-world such as this?
I don't. I mean, that the guy brought it up. I don't. And if I know.
Well, Captain, I believe I have some interesting information for you.
He looks over to Lavina. He says, perhaps you can wait till later.
I believe it shan't.
He looks at you, like waits a beat, kind of like rolls his eyes. All right. He's, excuse me for one moment. And he like steers you, a couple of feet away so we can have a private conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She bows and she's like, and by all means, don't let me stop you from having a conversation. You are here as our guest. Would you care for anything?
Not right now.
And
He nods to her.
She just like nods and then stands, at attention.
So yes, your information?
I do not necessarily know the source. However, everything of the grain and the rations and everything that they have outputted thus far has a severe tinge of the warp. It is infested.
How would that be possible?
Would I know how that's possible? I have. I do. If it is, if it would help, I do have forbidden lore warp.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that would
you
do
could
anything.
roll that to see. Yeah, if you roll that and succeed, you would know things.
All right, let's see. That is a 47 against 63.
All right. Yeah. There are many ways the presence of a demon or warp entities could certainly corrupt any physical reality around them. Mm-hmm. There are rites that there are members. There are people who worship particular chaos gods. And there are rituals to essentially bring their power into the world. Mm-hmm. There are also, there's rituals to do it. There are just the presence of a demon could certainly do it. Mm-hmm. Those are the two main ways. There could be some sort of warp manifestation, like a warp breach, a warp, rift that could potentially do it. If there was a warp storm, I guess, theoretically, that encased the entire place, it seems odd to you that it would be only that. You would think the entire planet would be affected if it were the storm, because the whole planet...
Exactly. Yeah. If the whole planet was encased in a warp storm, then the whole planet should be affected. But it's just this.
Yes.
Yeah.
In theory, everyone would be mutated and corrupted.
Right.
To a very high degree.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't make much. Yeah. And so that seems unlikely. It's possible, but there are certainly point-directed things that whether a demon or chaos god doing it through their own invention or a cult member could potentially do it as well through rituals.
Yeah. So basically, so while there are a few theories that I have ascertained, I believe that the most likely is a direct touch from either a demon or some other monster of the chaos. It found its way here through the warp storm and the thinning of the veil, or a possibility, though I do not necessarily want to throw this out hastily. It is possible that it could have been brought here with purpose.
He's just like, Emperor, damn it! And then he like looks over his shoulder and he's like, fuck, shit, it was going so smoothly. Like, this was easy money. Man, you gotta fucking tell me there's just a goddamn demon here.
Unfortunately, sir, it's this entire stock is tainted. There is nothing here that is worth anything. It's not even worth the grain anymore.
Shit. Well, I mean, if we're lucky, and if it is a demon, perhaps the demon is unarmored and would be easy to kill.
Perhaps he doesn't have any unnatural toughness to stop our bullets and swords.
That's funny for us.
Not likely. They all have a fuck ton of armor and toughness. Every one of them.
I'm a fucking demon.
Yeah.
So, Captain, I don't think that is the only issue we have. The statement about black ships. You can confirm with Jarnan because he may have a bit more information from the ecclesiastical side. But the fact that there hasn't been a black ship in here over a century doesn't bode well for the inhabitants of the planet also, let alone the crops.
Son of a bitch, you guys are fucking killing me.
Why?
Then we're gonna have to work now. God damn it.
Emmaus.
I had my evening all planned out now.
Emmaus, did they mention that they have had regular visits from black ships here up until the storm?
I think when we were being told that, when Cobra told us that, Neil, right, we were all together. It wasn't just to...
Jarnan was not. I mean, Kynnoch wasn't.
Yeah,
Kynnoch wasn't there. Everyone else was there.
Yeah, but everyone else was there. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Jarnan, but I think he said it's been no black ships since the storms.
At least.
Yeah. Okay, so that was okay. Yeah, so Kynnoch, there haven't been any black ships for 150 years at least. From previously, before the storms, I'm not sure, but...
Are you saying this loud enough for Lavina to hear? At this point, this particular conversation. Okay.
Well, I mean, no, just because I would say for the conversation we're having, I would probably try to keep it on the down low.
Yeah, I was just checking.
At that point, could I attempt a science check to see if perhaps there's any of the warp or any psychic energy coming from any of the people around us?
Sure.
Oh, don't tell me she's possessed by some shit.
That will be a tie, a 58 out of 58.
Success. Oh, by the way, I'm going to give you a fate point back because of the not using it, because you should have been able to use it previously, that one where you burned one and then you needed it again because you rolled a 99. So you should have been able to succeed with multiple degrees of success. So I'm going to give you one back just in case, but that's a success.
Yeah, okay.
You detect no psi powers from anybody in your particular radius. All
right. Much to his dismay, but I won't. Yeah. For an exact different reason than Jarnan, I believe.
Yeah, not a planet of only psychers. That would be super cool. But that's not what it is. So
I think
yes,
Jarnan
they
was
are
like,
not-
Planet of Psychers, so many people to burn.
yeah, they could burn all this grain probably because it's all tainted as fuck. So
That's very true.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
no,
know-
he's already warming up his flamethrower when you said that I got to burn this whole freaking warehouse to the ground.
and multiple others. I mean, there's literally fucking like Jesus, like 500 million tons of of shit that needs burned, and that's like minimum. That's if that's only the stuff that's tainted. That's if only that's tainted. So
the only information I need is how many doors lead in and out of this warehouse that I need to lock.
So from a game standpoint, I know Jarnan and I said we would do the Harvest Mother / the Agri stuff. So from Neil, from your standpoint, is it, I don't want to say let's go out and have me go start looking at crop rotation and soil and all that. If it really, because I kind of see where the important thing is it still worth, going out and looking at a bunch of farmers and see how they go about it or anything like that, because we're focusing on all the Harvest Mother and things like that. So
it's up to you. I mean, it's whether you think. I mean, I guess potentially, I would assume Kynnoch's Synescience abilities are not so powerful that he could detect like all of the warehouses are big, so like they're miles, so he can certainly feel that, but like you didn't really go. The land could be tainted.
Yeah,
you don't know that. You didn't check the grain to see if that's a problem. Like, it would probably show mutations and that sort of thing. And so that's potentially information you might want. The farmers per se, like the techniques, not as much. It's more like, is this normal grain? What is the taint coming from? Now, if you're looking for chaos or like rituals, maybe the farmers are praying to a chaos god. You don't know. So like maybe that's causing a blight on the land that's causing these warp energies to corrupt the grain. So you don't know where in the supply chain, I guess, it's happening.
Yeah,
so
that's actually exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that, Kevin. I was that I think Kynnoch would definitely want to go out with Emmaus and maybe Jarnan and I guess Venari, just to find out like where the warp taint is starting. Is it the soil? Is it something in the grain? Is it something that the harvesters are doing? Is it the mother, the mother? It's where in the chain is this happening?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it was more, from my mind, I just didn't want us all four going to 4 different places. And maybe that's metagaming too. Maybe we should all go to 4 different. I just didn't want to. I want us to, at least have something that we could all check on, and we weren't just trying to fill it. Because I said, hey, I want to go look at some dirt samples or anything.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
I also don't want you to I don't want you to just like run around and be like, I checked this, and I'm like, no, it's just dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, I mean, in this case, just dirt would actually give you information. It's just, I didn't want you to like go do something that was just wasteful, but there is value in knowing,
and that's why I was asking.
Throwing down the source if you want to eliminate the source. It's not your job. That's not what. I mean, technically, Venari could deliver this fucking grain and not give half a fuck about the fact that it's tainted as shit with warp evil.
That we're also.
I mean,
not
your money.
Millions, if not billions, of people with this.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, you would literally be corrupting fucking millions of imperial citizens, but you still get your money. So who fucking cares? That could be Venari's plan. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck this.
Well,
now you guys can fight on it, but he might say, "Yeah, this is a concern. We don't want to give this. We don't want to dish this out right away."
Well, Venari might, but Jarnan's there, so he probably won't.
Yeah.
But when you did your Synescence check to see if any of the people were tainted, did you say anything?
No.
Okay. I mean, how metagamey do we want to get? Because I have something, but Venari would not at all have.
Well, I'll tell you totally, like, total meta out of game. Like, if I had sense that somebody was a psyker, I probably wouldn't have told you anyway.
Yeah.
Because Jarnan's right there.
Yeah.
He just turns. Oh no! Not that!
I hate to meta, but if the planet itself was infected, or if the grain itself was somehow infected or mutated or whatever, then what you just did would have revealed that, because they would be consuming stuff that was contaminated, right? As a byproduct.
I mean, in game, I doubt they would be consuming it because it's purely for the harvest of the Empire.
But they have to eat, right? I mean, they're eating food that's coming from their own planet. I mean, they're literally not giving everything.
True.
Right? I mean, they're giving most, probably, like, because there's probably not a fuck ton of people on this planet. But they would have to eat food that was from here. I mean, they wouldn't import food to eat to export.
But if this is for the tide, they may be doing some other.
It
could be like these fields are specifically for export, and we eat grain, but we eat the grain from those fields over there
that aren't all fucked up. Yeah. But Venari would not have that thought at all.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, God.
The only thought that Venari has right now is booty. Booty.
Yeah, exactly. that was his plan for the rest of the night.
Am I downtown gonna have any action or what?
So we have a little powwow, and like he kind of like keeps glancing over at her, and he's like, all right, we should probably break this up. Let's take this back to the shuttle. Let's make some sort of an excuse. I guess, should we bring, so like, out of character, would we have like Earth scientists on the ship? Like, what would be the default to be like, hey, we want to get a crew that can do like soil testing or whatever that we can bring down on the auspices of
looking for like work corruption stuff. Now their aspects do not detect psychic and or warp energies.
Right.
Psychers do.
Yeah.
You do have an astropath, and I assume you have a choir.
I don't want to risk them.
We
have Kynnoch for that.
I don't know how many I don't know in-game mechanically if you would have more than one Navigator, since they're such a rare resource.
Yeah.
And unless you specifically had another Psyker, I would say you would need additional equipment to test that. Although I guess if you got samples, Kynnoch could be doing it.
Well, so if he, I wasn't thinking like this is completely like a warp thing.
There's not like, it's not like chemical contamination. This would have to be like literal psyker detectors. And there is a scope. It's like a ELOS something, a scope that detects warp energies. If you had those, by saying you had them, because they're like very rare or like extremely rare, you would be able to use them. But without them, you're essentially using a psyker to detect it. So right. So he would excuse himself from the group then and go back over to her and be like, oh, I apologize for the powwow. A few ship related things that suddenly popped up. No worries. I'm sure the logistics are quite challenging for you with such a large ship and such a large shipment to take.
Yes, and indeed. We should probably head back. We'll need to begin to make some arrangements, and perhaps arrangements for dinner as well tonight.
With me?
Indeed.
Oh, of course. I'd be more than honored. Of course, any servant of the God Emperor, of course, and a rogue trader, nonetheless. I'd be happy to show you around.
That would be lovely indeed.
Oh well, here I'll give you. It gives you like a comm channel just contact me if you'd like to meet later this evening. And if you need to take care of things with the ship, I can take you back to your shuttle and get ready for dinner.
Okay. He puts out his arm for her to take.
She takes it and is like quite. She looks definitely giddy. To be like, yay! This is like. I mean, it's certainly more fancy than anyone else she's probably ever. Well, not anyone she's ever met, but there are people that are in charge of the planet that aren't her. So,
Right.
They probably are as fancy as you in some places, but this is the most fancy person she's ever had be like, hey, let's go to dinner.
Right. Okay. So they go back to the shuttle then, assuming with no issues.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yep.
I guess when they get there, he would, bow, kiss her hand as she goes off to get ready.
Okay.
And then when they're alone, he says to, I guess to Kynnoch, because I don't know who else would know. He's like, do you think that Chad would potentially be able to modify the aspects to be able to key in on the warp energies that you are able to sense innately?
In truth, I have little knowledge of the abilities of the Mechanicus. I do not know if they are able to focus or augury any of the psychic or warp energies.
I'm unsure myself. They normally tend to more mundane matters.
Indeed, I do not think that that it is something that they deal with on a regular basis.
Still maybe an interesting avenue to pursue if they may be able to help us in this endeavor.
Indeed, if I do not have to lift up handfuls of soil, then I would be okay with that.
Rub it on your forehead. You're not getting anything.
It's in my eye.
So I guess I don't know, but I guess Jarnan said. So he says to Jarnan, do you plan on visiting the Harvest Mother this evening?
Unless you would rather I didn't. Yes, I was planning on it.
Excellent. She may be able to provide more information. If all of the planet is contaminated, then all of the people may be contaminated as well. If they are not, then there may be something more sinister afoot. If they are only contaminating grain for shipment to the heart of the Imperium. Kynnoch, do you believe that by ingesting the grain, it would somehow corrupt the people who would eat it?
The warp is a fluid substance. It is easily passed from one object to another oftentimes. So, yes, while though extremely dulled and muted, with enough intake, I do believe that it would begin to show its effects.
Mutations and things, do you believe?
Quite possibly. Those at least would be the first outwardly symptoms.
Well, clearly we cannot take any of that grain with us. Do you believe that it would be safe to come into just regular contact with it if we took it on the shuttles? And well, no, that wouldn't. Too much work for very little reward. We could just have Jarnan burn it here, I suppose.
Yep. It's always an option.
Always the first option, it would seem.
Well, you did say that was plan A, and you were currently working on plan B, so... Yes, that would be the first option.
Yeah, indeed. Out of character, I was thinking if we put it on the shuttles and then just jettison into space, to
Or,
eliminate
like,
any.
into the sun or the star, where you could do that, and they would burn it up. Yeah.
But that's a fuck ton of work. Like, for the amount of
It's a lot of work.
shuttles that we have, like, it would be months, a year's worth of work to load shuttles just to.
I mean, it would at least take a long time. I mean, it wouldn't take a year, but you definitely, you don't have just like a handful. You have a lot of shuttles. It's just like, do you really want to do that versus just fucking like burn it?
Yeah.
Or just fucking orbital bombard it. Fucking although that's really frowned upon. Regardless of the situation, it's really frowned upon.
Right.
You may not get thrown in some sort of imperial prison and or executed, but it certainly is. You have to explain to someone why you bombard a planet, but if you have good evidence and stuff, you could probably do it. Otherwise, burning it is probably the least difficult method.
I believe that we need to stall in the interim until we can get some more information. We don't want to risk an incident where it isn't necessary, although this is troubling to say the least.
I think we'll have to actually go out and do some more investigations. Unfortunately, it looks boots on the ground and finding out what else is going on.
And I mean, we might want to get a sampling of what they have in this warehouse, and like you said, maybe a sampling of what they're actually eating here, seeing if it's the same thing.
Why?
That's true. Mm-hmm. So he just kind of like waves his hand. He's like, "Well, I'll leave you guys to it." Then he bangs on the shuttle tour.
Booty!
All right, guys, make it happen. I'm out. I got dinner.
Yeah.
So he goes in and he lets Kane's. I don't know, like he lets Kane's guys know. They're gonna have to stop being Kane's guys at some point and just be Venari's guys,
Right?
So he lets his guys know that there is some suspicious business, but that they are going to be staying in town tonight. He will make arrangements for them to have a place to stay, to button the shuttle up as best they can, like fucking whatever. And he will call for another shuttle to come down, bringing like the finest meal that they could make on the ship. Because now he's getting a little nervous. He wants to, like fucking eat on the planet. So he whatever like the most lavish thing would be with like bottles of wine, and he has his amasec brought down and everything. And if she were to question it, he would be, would make the excuse that, he wanted to show her some of the finery that the Imperium has to offer now that they're, back in the fold, blah, 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 whatever.
Yep. Okay. So you're going to dinner.
Yeah. I'm not doing shit.
And you're not going back to the ship. The question is, what's everyone else doing? Are you like sticking around on the planet? Are you going back on that other shuttle? Like, what's the overall plan here? Like, are you guys staying on planet? You certainly would be able to get, like, they would provide you with rooms or whatever. But the question is, like, what's the plan?
Well, they were going to talk to the mother, right?
Yeah, I was going to stay on the planet if we could, depending on what time it was, start setting up stuff for us to go do our investigations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we could probably do the inspection that we need to under the auspices of what Emmaus was talking about earlier, of just wanting to see, being interested in the development and the harvesting and the process, and just seeing how it goes, and then I can just kind of tag along and do what we need to.
Okay. All right. I think at this point we have a pretty good stopping point, and I have an 8 o'clock dentist appointment. So whoopity doo. But I think we made some good progress. So I think we're on a pretty good path here. So if there's any final wrap up stuff, but it sounds like you guys are all kind of going to do your things. It's a good break point.
Cool.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
All right. I'm going to give you all 200 XP to spend.
Yay!
Is that so for them? Is that an extra 100? If they so is that
8,800? Be at 8,800, right?
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Or
Excellent.
have extra left over, right? So yeah, up to 8,800, and then you have the rest left. But
Okay.
yes.
Very cool.
All right, awesome.
All right, that was a fun game.
Yeah, I think that one went pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
Correlation between me being sober and competent. It's really close. There's a really close correlation there.
This may have been Venari's best game yet.
This is the only time I think I'm gonna get a date with this lady has worked. And it's not like you haven't tried. So there's that. No, I feel like this one went really well. It was good investigation, good insights. Everyone was like getting like, this could be an interesting angle. So it will only get more mysterious from here. Well, not more mysterious. You'll find out what's happening, but
I really feel like you should have me roll charm checks at some point.
yeah, at some point I will, I'm sure. It depends on what you're doing. Like at some point it's like, oh, this new person showed up and it's kind of like her job to show you around, but it's not like you're like, hey baby, take off your top. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Now it's had a couple of servings of Anisec first.
Yeah. She's like, who are you? Aziz Ansari. Zing! Topical! Not
by the time this releases.
Yeah, right.
6 months from now, people will be like, what did he do? I don't know what the fuck he did. There's like 1,000 other people that did creep shit before that. But someone's probably maybe on the feed is someone who's we have one person that sometimes watches. I never remember his handle.
No, it was
Sky Jamming.
Guy Jam. She's not in, but SER3255 said fun session and asked when the next Sphere session is. So I'm looking.
I don't know.
I
didn't know Sky Jam was a lady. I'm impressed. I thought anyone watching us live was a dude.
You will like 99% of the time. I would imagine that's probably the case.
That's what I figured. But hey, Fear game, we're gonna get kooky. Maybe not. I don't know what's gonna happen in the Fear game.
Well, so we were supposed to play on the 14th, and it got canceled due to a household emergency for one of the players. So we tried to reschedule and haven't gotten anything on the book. So maybe February before we play again.
Probably early February is my guess.
Yeah, because we're running out of road here for January. So probably early after the Super Bowl, because the Eagles are going to kick the shit out of New England. I'm calling it right now. Double revenge.
We'll see. I'm not even a New England fan. I just think, God, it's hard to beat those guys at this point.
Well, when they cheat all the time.
Hey.
Oh, that actually, John, you probably know this. What did they cheat the last game? All I saw, like 1,000,001 freaking people like, oh, they cheated and that's how they won the Patriots. I don't know.
I live in Massachusetts, so all of my whole Facebook feed was like, Pates are cheaters, blah, 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 and I don't pay attention to football.
So I was just wondering, like, what exactly did they cheat this time?
Was there a couple calls on catches or something, or?
It's not, I mean, they can't cheat that. That's the refs.
I thought there was some. Yeah, there was a catch at the end that I didn't
Well, I don't know about the
fumble or
catch.
I don't
I
know.
didn't watch the game, but there was a ref celebrating with them after
Yeah.
one of the catches.
Yeah.
Big smile
That's
on
a
his
little-
face, like arms around the guys or whatever. It's like, what the fuck is that?
That's
Yeah,
that's a
it
little
looked a bit
weird.
weird. Yeah, it looked a bit
Yeah.
weird.
It's not the first time.
You got to be a little more subtle.
Right?
They should hire me. I would be subtle. Mainly because I would just be like, I don't give a fuck that you won. You already paid me.
I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure your middle name is subtle, ironically.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I don't know.
Well,
I know.
Next time, like Tom Brady will get arrested for something, and a judge will be like, "Case dismissed," and it just shows him like jacking him off in a corner of the next. And they're like, I think this was biased. And they're like, no, he's totally unbiased. He's like, do it, Tom Brady. Give me that. Give me it.
You know how much you could probably sell that for? Come on.
Oh, fucking millions. I guarantee some creepo would be like, I will take your sperm for $1 million and I'm going to have a Tom Brady baby. And that's going to be the biggest football player of all time.
Recently, a cloth that Elvis might have wiped his head with during a concert sold for like over $1,500 on eBay.
What?
Ay.
So what you're saying is, if I
Blew to the cup and say it's Tom Brady's.
if I handkerchief bomb Tom Brady live, like if I like record myself running up to Tom Brady in a hot environment where he's sweating, and I just dab him real quick and run,
Thousands of dollars.
thousands of dollars every time I do that.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't get
Before you get arrested.
Right? How
Yeah, like
how fast?
fucking ripping things out of his fucking sleeve.
Yeah. Although my question is, how hard would he beat the shit out of me? And could I hold on to that handkerchief?
I don't know, dude. He
Definitely gonna
wears.
run me down and beat the shit out of me for that.
I don't know. He wears Uggs. I'm not sure.
Like, what if I just walked up and was like, "Oh, Tom Brady, you are the greatest football player ever," and I just dab his forehead, like, "Oh, I just want to wipe the sweat off your brow, sir. Kudos, congratulations on all your hard work," and then I put that on eBay. Would he beat me up for that? I don't know. Maybe not.
I doubt it.
Probably
Not the first
do.
time. Third or fourth time, it might start getting a little weird. Your face might
I'm
end
gonna-
up on a wall somewhere.
This one's for free. This one's for free. I don't know if anybody is still watching, but this one's. I'm not going to do this. This is your $1 million idea for free. Find out what hotel Tom Brady's staying at. Wait for his dry cleaning and/or laundry to get sent out. Steal that underwear. Put it on eBay. Creeps are going to pay more than 15. If they say this is Tom Brady's worn underwear,
Yep. Like
some
name in the
creep-
label.
Yeah,
Yep.
people are buying. Creeps are gonna buy that for $15,000, not $15,000, and you're a millionaire. All you need is one bag of Tom Brady underwear and socks.
And
Shit, there's a
socks.
guy-
Oh, that's tough.
Oh, you got to get the socks too. Some dude, I don't know. Some dude was just wearing his own socks in undergrad and sold them for $30 a pair to creeps on the internet to masturbate to. And that wasn't a famous guy. That was just a guy who was like, I wore these socks for a week and they smell like me. And dudes would buy them.
I need to find
was
out where
never
the money
girls.
is. That is.
It was never girls, by the way. Girls don't do that. That's fucking gross. It's only weirdo guys because guys are all gross. So we're
Right.
sorry, ladies. We're the worst. I didn't buy them. I'm just saying only guys bought them. So if you got
I'd wear the
Tom
same pair of
Brady's-
socks. I'd wear the same pair of socks for a week for $100. That's
Oh, it was easy. He literally made hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands, selling his own worn underwear and socks undergrad, like freshman year. And I was like, I thought he was lying, but he showed me the deposits.
That's
Wink,
crazy.
the deposits. I don't
sign
know.
me up.
He showed where that money was deposited to a checking account. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, yeah, it's weird, but I'm doing this. I'm just saying, guys, $1 million idea. Steal Tom Brady socks.
fuck, I'm just going to start buying more socks. Why go through all that trouble?
Well, his thing was like, I sell them for $30 a pair, and it cost me $5 to buy another 6-pack. Then I sell those for $30 each. This is a fucking profit machine. Great idea, guys. Tom Brady socks. Don't tell them I said to steal them. Cause they'll probably sue me for that. But like, steal his socks and sell them for millions to some creep. I really devolved this one, and I haven't even been drinking that much. So, sorry, but it wasn't about buttholes. It was just what your butthole goes into. Underwear.
It's true. All right. Well, before we jump out, there's a link for the coffee in the show notes. There's links to the coffee on the website. You could use the weird link that Neil created for some strange reason, or just go to tinyurl.com/legendary brew. You may have trouble getting it now because Neil's running out of beans because it's super successful over there at Birds of a Feather Coffee. So you want to get in on that bandwagon now while you could still kind of get in on that bottom floor before he's like the next Starbucks.
That's right. Before I got to get new beans, and then it's a whole new brew. It's not going to taste that much different, but I'm pretty good at getting it the same. But it's gonna be different every little tiny bit.
A little bit. You never be able to tell a difference.
No one can tell. No one's ever said, "Oh, your night owl tastes different," and it's different beans like every 3 months. So I'm pretty good at it, guys. It's just, I'm just saying, if you want the official first, do you want the first legendary brew? Because that's the one still. Guatemala and Rwanda combo medium roast.
Oh, now the secret's out.
Do you know how many Guatemalan and Rwanda beans there are? Oh, like 100 at any given time. So no one's gonna know what I'm using. Unless I posted. I didn't post. I've never posted the exact beans for those blends. But I'm just saying, guys, order some of this legendary brew or order any other of the brews. I'm fine with either. John would like you to order the other one though.
I would just probably order that one.
It doesn't matter. It's all the same to me. Guys, I get the same amount of money either way. So
so check that out for sure. I'm going to be putting in an order this week, not for me, for gifts. So yay, Neil and coffee.
I'll be roasting that this week too. Usually when you buy a legendary brew, that gets roasted the day I send it out or the day before. One of the two.
Yep.
Super fresh.
And you can use code LEGENDS10 forever to get 10% off your order, and your shipping is always free.
People need to do this. People need to take advantage of my charity and goodwill of this 10% off, and people aren't doing it enough. Do it. It's 10% off. Free shipping. Do it. Just do it. Superliminal. Do it. Anyway.
All right. If you like what you hear, hit the likes and the subscribes on all the pages. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I think we're on Podbean now too, Player FM. We're all over the place. So we appreciate you checking it out. We appreciate the likes and the subscribes. If you could find it in your heart to leave us a review somewhere on iTunes or Podchaser or whatever your podcatcher of choice is, that is also super helpful. It just helps to bring us up in the standings and get us noticed. Share us on your social media. That's helpful too. And we appreciate you checking it out. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.